Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi out here. It's Saturday, so we do the Saturday Share the Love Club, and today we're celebrating Raptors GM Bobby Webster. Now, today would be seemingly a very interesting day to celebrate him because we have a little bit of both things happening yesterday. A little bit of uh, success and happiness in the re-signing of Jakob Poeltl at 4 years for 20 million a year, and then a little bit of kind of sad, bittersweet kind of craziness with Houston outbidding the Raptors and stealing Fred VanVleet. He is now a Houston Rocket as of this morning. Very, very strange in some ways. Listen, I'm not going to hate Fred. Hate on him just like I'm hating on Nick at this point. Fred did it right. Fred deserves a bag. I'm proud of him. He's a Raptor legend. He's somebody that I'm always going to really honor and cherish and celebrate because I don't have any hard feelings with him. You know that the money that was presented to Fred was unprecedented. Seriously, and that's part of what's the issue here is that because of the new CBA, in some ways we got penalized for it in the reverse. It's a really strange situation where Houston has been doing a weird thing for a few years now where they operate on like half of their salary cap, maybe even less. It's part of it has been money saving ever since they got Harden out of there and he went somewhere else, Brooklyn. They've been money saving by just having a team that has just a bunch of rookies and young players on it and no vets. So their cap is like a third. For 1 year, it was like a third of what it could have been. And they really just didn't want to spend. So they've been sitting like this for a couple years. Well, one of the rules in the new CBA is that all teams need to spend at least 90% of their cap. So there's a huge chunk of the Houston Rockets salary cap that was just sitting there dormant that they finally were forced to use. And this is a huge factor in why this happened with Fred yesterday, Raptors Nation. People need to realize this. When you guys start saying, oh, it's Bobby's fault that he let Fred go for nothing like this, you guys got to realize a special situation occurred once again. We can look at special situations throughout the history of the Raptors that have been detrimental to our team. Whether we talk about how we should have the first pick in the draft in 96, when we got number 2, when we drafted Marcus Camby, we should have been drafting number 1 and taking Allen Iverson. We were penalized by the league at that point in time. We've been penalized by the league at different times in different ways, whether it's having to go to Tampa, whether, there's all kinds of bullshit that the Raptors have had to put up with. Well, this situation is similar to these kind of things. Once they fill that cap space with Fred's contract and whoever else they're filling it up with this free agency in Houston, this will never happen again in some ways. They'll have it all tied up. So it's kind of like we took the deluge of empty cap space that they needed to spend, like Monty Brewster and Brewster's Millions. The CBA said, you got to spend this money, this millions of money, Houston Rockets, by this deadline, or you lose the money or you get penalized. So they were like Monty Brewster, Richard Pryor, and Brewster's Millions yesterday. Well, we got to spend money. And they had money to throw at anybody. That's why they were talking about, well, they didn't want Harden anymore. Harden didn't want to go there anymore. He heard what Jalen Green said about him in Paul George's podcast. And he said, I don't want to go to Houston anymore. Different things that people that they were going to throw money at kind of went away and got out of the picture. But Fred wasn't one of those people. And honestly, this is what happened. Fred took the money. He chose the bag. He made money the number one priority for him. And once again, like I said yesterday, he signed a deal with the devil. I'm telling you, man, you go ahead, have money, but will you have happiness? I don't think you will. And I think that you're just opened up a really miserable kind of path for yourself in your life right now, Fred. I don't think you totally realize what you did. Sure, some people are saying, okay, he's getting $43 million a year. He's making more money than Kyrie. We had a list on Facebook yesterday that I put in the messages about who all he's getting paid higher than at this point. And it had names like Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, Trae Young. It's insane who Fred is out earning in the NBA at this point. In fact, I am a huge Fred stan. I love Fred to death, but he is way overpaid at this point. And In the situation with restricted free agency or unrestricted free agency, is you got to match that number. And we had no way near getting there. I said that yesterday. I said they give them the huge bag over 40 million a year. There's nothing the Raptors can do. So everybody who's trying to blame the Raptors for failing this, well, first of all, this is a newer development. This is actually rules. This just came out 3 days ago. So how the fuck are the Raptors front office supposed to predict what the new CBA is going to be when it's 600 and something pages got dropped on us at less than 48 hours ago? Yeah, you go ahead and point fingers at them. This is a perfect storm, and in some ways, partly calculated by the NBA so that they would have Houston take something from somebody. Well, they probably smiling that it's the Raptors. All the Fred haters and all the trolls and all the people that come from other nations to come into our fan nation and try and start a noise to get rid of people. Well, they were successful. They got rid of 2 more of our major important championship pieces this offseason, Nick Nurse and Fred VanVleet. And I hate it. I hate it because, other franchises get protected to stay together. And in some ways, the NBA didn't want that for us at any kind of sniff of a Raptors dynasty of any kind of way, because we had a dynasty ready to have if Kawhi had stayed. No, but tomorrow, that's what my special report is going to be on. Sunday special report. The dismantling of the 2019 Toronto Raptors championship team and how it all went down and how it was fucked up. Let's just put it that way. Sunday report tomorrow. We're going to talk about how each step went away and where we're at now with the lone active champion. We do have 3 champions on our team still, but 2 of them didn't really play, Anunoby and Boucher. Now Siakam's the only championship piece left, with Fred and Nick gone. So it's really messed up in a lot of ways. When you think about how Golden State has been able to stay together, you see this contract that Draymond took to stay with Golden State, jerking everybody around. Well, he got rid of the little smart mouth Jordan Poole. Everything's fine. Staying back. Oh, Chris is here too. I would love to stay in Golden State with Chris Paul. They make it so easy for the Warriors to keep a dynasty together for 15 years. Meanwhile, the Raptors can't have a dynasty for 2. They can't keep a championship core for 2. Yeah, it's messed up. It's very messed up. And in some ways, the bias against Toronto being the Canadian team is heavily factored in all this. All right, let's get in the comments. I know y'all are going to have a lot to say about all the turn events in the last 24 hours. Lots to talk about. There are some successes, huge successes from the last day, but definitely the pain and the sting of a void being opened with Fred VanVleet departing to the Lone Star State. Fred, I really don't get this, man. You got to understand, you're going to work as the coach on the floor for a coach that has said that Toronto was too woke for him. Well, you're a pretty woke guy. Are you going to get along with MA? I don't know. And will you be a really good person to be in the middle between MA and those youngsters down there? I wish the best for you in your life personally. In some ways, I'm not really predicting much success for the Rockets. So I know that it's going to be a very tough couple years for you coming up very soon. I hope that money, that's all you got to think about, Fred. Is thinking, yeah, I made a lot of money. And that's what you got to keep thinking when all the shitty things start happening to you with your professional career coming up. Yeah, it's going to suck, bro. I can't see this being listen, in some ways, the idea of you being MA's on-court coach is very interesting to me. In some ways, it's kind of like a similar arrangement to you and Nick, but I don't know if it'll be exactly the same in some ways. And once again, I don't know if you actually see eye to eye some ways as AM Udoka, who very much embraced the non-wokeness of Texas, and you are very, very woke. In fact, you may be the most woke player in the NBA. What a craziness, Fred. You want the money, you got it. You sign that deal with the devil, you get what you get. And that's what's going to happen. In some ways, this is great. One of the reasons why I want to celebrate Bobby Webster this morning is because his quickness feet reacting to this. They had a meeting with Fred. They talked to him. But you know what it was? Houston put a 3rd year on the deal. And at that point, it became money that was just too big and for too long. If they had only done the 2-year deal and not gone over to 3, we may have been able to get him back. But that 3rd year deal just crushed our chances of any kind of matching, or even like, that he really wanted more years. So them going to, he would have liked 4 years, honestly. But him getting 3 from Houston was just too good to say no to. And Rich Paul, big factor in this also. In fact, Klutch, it's kind of gross how they're celebrating it last night. And LeBron specifically getting on Twitter and tweeting about Rich Paul's success yesterday. It's so gross. Y'all operate just like the Supreme Court right now with your Klutch organization. It's all convoluted. It's all not on the legitimate. It's just kind of like seedy and fucked up at this point. Some people are saying, all right, let's get into the comments. Let's read this stuff real quick. So Trevor's saying, good morning, Raptors family. Fred VanVleet got that bag. Big bag. Yeah, he did. He chose the money, which we learned something about him. Some people are already kind of like, okay, we see you're greedy, Fred. And you know what? In that situation, I don't know how you deal with this. As far as like, this may be the most money he'll ever see in his entire life for sure. And how can you say no to it? It's the kind of weird situation where it's kind of like, it's just, we can't deal with this. And people can blame the front office for letting us get in this situation, but there's really not a whole lot they could have done in this situation. In some ways, some of this was railroaded towards this. In some ways, this was a very bad circumstance for the Raptors to try and do something with this. Now, we can do damage control and think about this. If anybody's going to leave like this out of all our really good players, in some ways, Fred's the right one. He's not a Vision 6'9". He's had knocks on him for a while. There's a lot of different things that like we're not going to have to worry about with Fred gone at this point, hopefully. I'm sure that the Fred haters will pick some other guy on our team to start going after in a very toxic, stupid way. Yeah, I don't really think the fan nation had a lot to do with this decision. If people are starting to think, oh, well, why wouldn't he take the money and not have to deal with us? Well, there's toxic fan nations in every fan nation. So he's going to have toxic fans in Houston also. And once again, I think it's Warwick report. They're out there saying that, Fred expected to get traded in the next couple of years to somebody else out of the blue all of a sudden. And you won't have any control over that decision at all. Watch. So, yeah, very, very strange day here on the Raptors Freak channel. A day of a little bit of mourning and sadness because a very important player, a guy who came in undrafted and went all the way to a very much a max player. This guy makes more than Pascal now as of today. And to me, in some ways, this is all too crazy. Fred, I love Fred, but he's not worth the money he got paid by Houston yesterday. And in some ways, he was very much an opportunist of a situation where Houston needed to burn some cash real quick, just like Monty Brewster. And can we fault him for that? He got his big bag. He's on his way. It is what it is. So be it, Fred. You're going to have to see how you got to deal with this. It's going to be a little crazy. Trevor's saying, boss, the plane is coming. Fred is coming. Yeah, what is this? Ricardo Montalban and Tattoo, a Fantasy Island quote. I don't know I think, Fred may be Tattoo to AM Udoka's Ricardo Montalban. Yeah, that's what it's going to look like down there. Dana's saying, good morning, everyone. I can't believe what they gave Fred. Good luck, Fred. We will be fine. I love this attitude by Dana, because a lot of people are like now even more downgrading us. I mean, I get it. We just lost our coach and we lost our captain and point guard. And it's easy to downgrade the Raptors for this. And so many people are saying also that like, we're so mid. What are we doing? That same stupid argument there too. I can understand why people have this perception about the Chicago Bulls. A lot of people are comparing us to the Chicago Bulls right now. Two teams that are maxed out with a lot of like people, and they're not that good record wise in the last couple of years. That's kind of bullshit for us. I get why you guys say that about the Bulls. Their age cohort is higher than ours. They're older, and they are much more hamstrung with their flexibility in moving things. The difference between the Bulls and the Raptors is the Raptors have a ton of attractive assets and contracts, and they can be moved very quickly for easy, quick flexibility. So I don't like the comparisons of where our franchises are right now, because I don't think that's fair to what the Raptors can actually do realistically. We know people thirst for OG and Pascal, and a lot of our guys, really a lot. And that if, we need the freedom to move these guys, we'll have an easier time moving a Siakam or an Anunoby than them with a lot of their players over there. As far as like, I hate to say it, DeRozan, Vucevic, a little bit older players, and maybe their ceiling isn't as high because their players will not develop as much as ours could to increase wins because they're different age brackets. Some of their younger players, maybe, but they're not players like Scottie and Precious or Koloko, like those kind of guys that can really make huge jumps. So any of the Chicago Bulls, Toronto Raptors comparisons about where our rosters are right now are silly. They're silly because the Bulls are much older. And then in some ways, they're in a worse shape than we are, for sure. All right, let's keep going with the comments. Nameless is here. Let's be real. We knew this day was coming when they decided to clean house with the staff. It only makes sense. You chop off the head of the snake by removing the teacher's pet from the situation. I mean, I've called him a teacher's pet at times in the last year or so also. But in some ways, I don't think that that's totally fair for Fred in some ways. You know what? I think that we did really intend to keep him. And if he had not gotten the third year, we would have kept him last night. It really was that Fred was getting them for even more. You're going to pay me $43.5 million for 3 years, Houston. That's what Rich Paul said to them. And they did. And they did. And Fred said, I can't pass this up. I can't pass this up. This is going to mean something for my family forever. And yeah, it is what it is. In some ways, I'm not mad at him for taking the bag and leaving this way. Some people are mad that we don't get anything in assets back. Well, this has allowed us for flexibility, even more flexibility in some ways. Now, part of the problem is when you let a player like Fred go, that you don't get to replace him with the same kind of money. And that can have that weird void, just like the Rockets were dealing with the void in your salary cap where you have a whole bunch of money that's just sitting there. Well, there's going to be a little bit of that for us this year, although we can try and fill it up with different players. That first sign is, and this is why this is the Share the Love Club for Bobby Webster, that, part of it is, like, look how quickly he went and got Schroder after Fred signed with Houston. He didn't waste time. He didn't mess around. He went and got the best possible guy for money, and he really got the right one. Dennis Schroder is now a Toronto Raptors guy, and now it's amazing. Honestly, he's a great player. I've always liked Schroder. I think Schroder is an excellent defender, and he's a vet. He's the same age as Fred. And, these guys, he has a lot of experience. The other thing is that people don't realize is he played a year with Darko at Oklahoma City. And it was one of his best years in his career as a professional. So this is real easy to Brian Windhurst that, if they're in a war room and Darko's there with Bobby and Masai and they're saying, all right, well, Fred left. Who should we get out of these guys? Gabe's gone already. We can't get Gabe Vincent. He already went to Lakers. Who do you think we should get, Darko? I know Dennis. I worked with him in Oklahoma City, and I also seen him in Europe a lot playing for Germany. And, so I'm very familiar with Dennis Schroder. I could really work with him. He's a good defensive guard. It could have gone down that way. And Bobby said, all right, boom, get it done. Bam, Bobby Webster. Share the love for Bobby Webster, being quick on his toes and go and get Dennis Schroder. Now you wonder, Dennis Schroder, well, that's not going to make up for Fred, but in a lot of ways he'll make up for most of Fred. Seriously, he'll make up for Fred defensively. He'll be just as good as Fred defensively. He may not be as good as Fred offensively, but he will hit threes from time to time. And we don't really want that position necessarily to be taking a lot of shots. It's kind of like we just need him out there to be a really dogged defender on the ball. And also to kind of like maybe do some standard point guard stuff where he's setting people up with easy shots and assists. But it's not like we want him to get like a really good scoring percentage. We want him to keep people honest and hit an open shot if they leave him open. But for the most part, it's not him that should be replacing the output, the scoring offense of Fred VanVleet. It's all the rest of the Raptors just inching a little bit more into their workload. Maybe not Pascal getting much more. He's already got quite a bit, but Scottie, OG, Gary, Grady, all these guys stepping up and taking a piece of the pie of what Fred would contribute to our team. Now, another thing about Fred not being here anymore is exactly what Nameless is saying, that Fred is programmed with Nick Nurse's stuff. And Darko may not want to try and reprogram Fred in some ways, and that this is a nice fresh start. In some ways, the connection between Schroder and Darko is way better than Fred and Darko, and that's what we need. Somebody who's familiar with Darko. There may be a already accumulated work relationship where they have a kind of already ideas about how things. And Schroder is extremely excited about coming back, coming to Toronto. He posted on Twitter, and he's like, he's showing an enthusiasm. He knows what he's coming to. He's played against us. He's fought against us. We've seen OG Anunoby and him tussle a few years ago and almost getting a big fight. That kind of drive and that kind of dog is in Dennis Schroder. And I'm happy about that because we don't have Kyle Lowry anymore. We don't have Fred anymore. We need dog. And in some ways, Schroder is a dog. He has dog in him. And that is a great replacement in some ways. Now, he's not going to replace everything Fred does. He's not going to be that leader behind the scenes. He's not going to have the culture like check that Fred had either for our team. And, well, we're going to have to find that in other places. Hopefully the coach will take on a lot of this responsibility to set the tone. And then the leaders that are still around on this team from before will enforce it with the roster in different ways too. So, yeah, I think you're right, Nameless. Fred, in some ways, we got to look at the bright spot. There is a lot of negativity and bad about this move and him leaving. But there's also some bright silver linings to that gray cloud of the sadness of Fred leaving the Toronto Raptors. There's a couple different things. Now, Fred haters are rejoicing in some ways, but I don't trust them. I really do feel like they're just going to pick another player and go after them. And we need to realize this is just a new phenomena on social media where it's warfare between teams as far as like fake fans from other teams come in, infiltrate fan nations, and they cause chaos and public opinion bullshit. This is a big part of what's happening in today's NBA all over the place, every which way. Guys are going to other fan nations or people and just causing chaos and causing confusion and putting out bad takes and hoping people will jump on board with it and go with it. That's the whole thing about the Fred hate, was a bad take caught fire like a forest fire that's been burning in our country and just went out of control. And sheep people just took the idea of the Fred hate and went with it. Seriously, they just went with it. So I know they're going to do it again, and we'll recognize it. And it may very well be the same accounts and the same people we see around Raptors Nation doing the same damn thing. And if you guys notice this specifically with individual certain accounts, call them out and say, look, you did this when Lowry was here. You did this when Fred was here. And now you're going to do this to this player now that this person's gone. Yeah, you're not a healthy person in our fan nation. You need to fucking not be heard. And we need to just tell you to fuck off is what's going on here. Let's keep going. Nameless is saying, let's focus on all the reasons why Dennis Schroder is a perfect fit and how Masai has been pursuing this man for years. Listen, it's crazy. What did we do yesterday? We signed a German and an Austrian. I don't want to gloss over the Jakob's news because the Jakob news came before Fred's announcement. A lot of people were saying that Fred's announcement would be helping to decide Jakob's, but that wasn't true. In some ways, maybe Jakob feels a little burned by Fred because maybe they had an agreement that everybody come back and Fred would be back too. It could very well be that Jakob's a little betrayed by Fred because he did his deal earlier in the night and he thought we were all coming back and running it back. I'm so proud of Jakob. And listen, he said he wants to play for a contending team. Well, he's on our team and we expect to contend. And thank you, Jakob Poeltl. Thank you for being a man of your word. In some ways, it could be even more of a disaster yesterday if Jakob had returned back to the Spurs or something on a contract. The people that are not happy with our front office would have had a field day with that one. And how that whole situation went with the trade deadline to get to this point where Jakob isn't even retained. Yeah, that I wouldn't want to deal with that. I'm so happy that Jakob just came back. He's a man of his word. Thank you, Jakob, because that would have caused my life a lot of grief if we had lost you also yesterday. That would have been horrible. Oh, my gosh. I like Schroder a lot. I think that people are underestimating how much, he'll be able to pick up some of the stuff that Fred has. I think that there's going to be an interesting starting lineup. It's really, people are trying to speculate the Raptors starting lineup already, and you really don't know what Darko's mindset is or what he values completely. So it's really, really hard to just say, okay, well, this is going to be our starting lineup. I know it is. Plus, we got to see battles in training camp. We got to see different things happen, and people will have to win their time, their starting position, and their place in the rotation. So until we know, I don't know anything about honestly exactly what Darko's going to value or how he'll look at our whole roster in the end and really kind of like decide how he wants to use it. So I have no idea. He could start positionless and have a bunch of tall guys out there, or he could be starting Dennis Schroder. I don't think that. I think Schroder allows flexibility. In his long career, he has both came off the bench and been a starter. So in some ways, that's nice to have that check boxes. Once again, we're checking a lot of boxes in the acquisition of Dennis Schroder as an emergency replacement for Fred all of a sudden. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. Our team just got very European. Like I said, we just signed an Austrian and a German. We got OG from the UK. We got a new Serbian coach. We got another Serbian assistant coach. We have a very strong European flavor to our team now with Darko and Dennis on our team now. So very interesting stuff. The European Toronto Raptors once again. Let's see. Nameless is saying, I think Michael Grain should just go ahead and retire at this point because people are lying to you, bro, which means they don't like you, idiot. Yeah, I mean, everybody made prognostications about the draft, or not the draft, free agency, and what would happen on the first day of free agency. And a lot of people were wrong. There's some people that told me that for sure Fred would be back. And I really believe that they truly were right. It's just that Houston really had to spend that money. It really, really was like, Richard Pryor in that Chicago Cubs jersey in that 80s movie, Brewster's Millions. They had to spend the money and somebody was going to take it. Well, Fred was an opportunist and he took it. He took it. Now, a little bit of a side note, and I've been hateful towards this person on this channel, and I've said some, I've made impressions of him. I told him he needed to retire and stuff, but I've heard the sad news that Bob McCown has had 2 strokes recently and that he can't even speak. He's bedridden. I never like hearing that kind of news. And he may not be my cup of tea, and he may have annoyed me in the past on sports radio, but I never like hearing these kind of things. And, I wish you well, Bob McCown. I hope you fully recover, and peace and love and understanding to you and your family. And I just hope that, things go better for you with your health outcomes. I never like hearing about these kind of things happening to people, even if they're people that are sometimes spouting lies about the Raptors on FM radio or AM radio or whatever he is. So Bob McCown, sad to hear about your stroke. Seriously, I'm being for real. And then also just a little house click keeping. I did not realize yesterday when I did the Alan Arkin impression, because Paul did not tell me that Alan had passed yesterday. So rest in peace to Alan Arkin. A great, great actor, a fantastic character actor, just a great actor all around, a very, very underrated actor. And, this is sad too. And I wish I'd known at that time that he had passed, or I would have done an honor and respect towards him at that moment. But you didn't tell me, Paul. You just told me to do the impression. And I had no idea that was the reason why you asked me to do him specifically. It's all good, though. It's all good. All right, let's keep going. Jimmy Pope has got the dice out. I'll miss him. We'll all miss him, Jimmy, for sure. There's things about Fred we're going to miss, but we had a good time with him. And you know what? Listen, we're talking about Bobby Webster today. We're talking about the success of Bobby Webster. And in some ways, we got to talk about how the Raptors and Bobby Webster as a GM brought Fred in as an undrafted player, and we made him into a max player. I don't think that that's ever happened in the history of the NBA. In fact, I'm pretty sure it hasn't, where an undrafted guy goes all the way up to max money like this. No, usually they're a role player or maybe a secondary superstar, but never a max player. And that's a huge accomplishment. That's a testament to the astute eye of our front office saying Fred's that guy, just like we're looking at Nowell right now. And allowing the path and the development to happen to boom. You make a champion, you make an all-star, you make a $140 million player or something like that. It's crazy, 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 crazy good. So in some ways, Fred's path and where he's at right now is a testament to the success of the Raptors front office and Bobby Webster. Really, really good stuff. We're going to miss him for sure. It's going to be a little weird. It's going to be very, very strange without Fred around on our team all of a sudden, but it could be very interesting. Could be very, very interesting. Some really cool stuff could happen from it too. Nameless is saying, here's the salient point for any potential future players. Come to Toronto and you could raise your value to historic levels. Exactly. Exactly. In some ways, that's a good thing. Once again, like I said, our players are attractive to other teams. They want them. They want OG. They want Pascal. They want Scottie. Now, the other thing is it's attractive to play here to players at this point. The myth of nobody wants to play in Toronto is absolutely false. Dennis Schroder was excited to leave the Lakers to come to the Toronto Raptors. And Lakers Nation's pissed. They're sad. They love Dennis Schroder. And in some ways, that says a lot that, a lot of Lakers Nation thinks that we actually got better because we got Schroder over Fred. Yeah, seriously, some of the perception, they inflate players have been playing in the States and deflate players up here so much that some NBA fans down there are actually saying the Raptors got a W yesterday, letting Fred go for such a huge number that Houston's going to overpay him. Well, we can't do anything about that. And then turn around and getting Dennis Schroder. And some people really believe in Dennis Schroder, and they're like saying that's actually a Raptors win. You're getting a player that may give you somewhat kind of similar kind of skills and output for way, way less money. And that's some of the perception right now today, because some people very much do not think Fred is a legitimate good NBA player. Some people are very much making a lot of jokes about how he has no business making the amount of money he's making now as of yesterday. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. The perception of some of the things that happened with the Raptors yesterday, even though it seems like it's a fail, some people are saying that's good. And, this could end up being something like the Kawhi Leonard thing, where we feel like we dodged a bullet down the road. We don't know what's going to happen with Fred, seriously. And we don't know what's going to happen with him in the next few years. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of salary. And we definitely didn't want to tie up that amount of money. So in some ways, a lot of people will be saying we dodged a bullet in some ways. I'll bet you. MSJ saying Fred averaged 11.8 points, 5.9 assists, and 2.6 rebounds in 11 games versus Dennis in his career. Dennis has averaged 16 points, 4.5 assists, and 4.3 rebounds in 11 games versus Fred in his career. So this is pretty comparable numbers. As you can see, Dennis ties up Fred pretty good. If Fred's only averaging 12 points, that's way below his career average as a player. And these are good stats, MSJ. I like you dropping this kind of stuff in the chat here. I like this. The head-to-head matchup favors Dennis Schroder. I get it that Fred's going to have more assists. Dennis isn't really known, but he's an underrated passer, and he can do assist kind of stuff. But it's not really what he's known for. He's definitely known for being aggravating and being a defensive nuisance, for sure. So, yeah, I like this. In some ways, he really fits the Raptor mentality, Schroder. He really, really does. And I think that it'll be interesting to see how he interacts with people like OG. Some people are worried about them getting along, but they don't understand that they have nothing wrong with each other. There's no problem with Dennis and OG. That was just a heat in the moment kind of battle kind of thing that happened at that time. And that's years ago. And I'm sure there's no held on to animosity over that time. In fact, when they see each other in the locker room, I'm sure they're going to have a joke about it. And they'll probably kind of be bonded on the down low because of it. Some ways, OG and Dennis are the same kind of guy. They're very good defensive players that really take a lot of prestige and pride in being such good defenders. And in some ways, they could connect like that real quick in their minds. It's like, well, I got OG with me now on defense. Dennis may be a little bit more, we've seen our Raptor guards cheat a lot to get steals because of the protection behind them of shot blocking and of excellent defenders. Dennis could be a little unlocked, a little bit like Gary Trent as far as his steals numbers and him playing kind of that way around like what Fred would be doing if he was still here. So that's interesting to me also. Once again, Raptors Nation, let's let Dennis Schroder try and fill the shoes of Fred VanVleet, because I think he may fill them pretty full. And if he doesn't fill them the whole way, well, maybe Markquis Nowell fills the shoes the rest of the way. In some ways, I sent a message to Markquis last night. I said, now you have big shoes to fill. The path is there laid in front of you. And you know the way to do it because Fred did it. Now he's gone. Do you want to go take Fred's spot that he built his way up? That path is completely clear for you. It's completely clear for him. In fact, he has a more clear path to becoming the starting point guard of the Toronto Raptors than Fred did in his path. Because right now it's really ambiguous who's going to actually be our starting point guard next year. It could be one of the forwards. It could be Dennis Schroder. It could be Jeffrey Doughton Jr. Well, it could be Nowell by the end of the year next year. We don't know. Markquis Nowell could be that kind of guy that just is amazing and undeniable. And he's going to be getting like minutes in crazy ways that we didn't think on the main roster by the end of the year. That could happen. Seriously, there's a void with the point guard right now, and people are going to be trying to take that job all through the year. Don't count out Nowell. Seriously, don't count out Nowell. He's going to definitely be trying to do that. All right, let's keep going. MSJ saying Dennis took about 10 field goal attempts and Fred 16. Given Dennis scored 12 points and Fred 19, those extra 6 field goal attempts put Dennis at another 6 points or so, shooting 41%. That's now 18 points per game for Dennis. Rather good. See, I like these comparative stats that MSJ's dropping today. Perfect, good kind of content that we'd like to see here. Yeah, like Dennis doesn't shoot as much, so maybe he's a little bit more efficient. And that's kind of an area where we can improve from this loss of Fred and replacing him with somebody more efficient. You know, I won't deny that Fred wasn't the most efficient player in the last couple of years. His overusage gave to that happening. And now, you know, we can kind of tether Dennis and we don't have to rely on him as the main offensive engine like we did Fred. We could be relying on Scottie for this. And that'll make the Scottie Barnes people that hated Fred the whole time so happy. But listen, we do have a counterpoint now at this time. You know, if there are certain things that happen with the team that aren't good, well, we can say that you guys have to realize just how important Fred was now. Seriously, we're going to come back at you anti-Fred people and say, y'all motherfuckers, now you see why he was important to our team? Now you see why? If there is problems and we have some problems and they stem directly from Fred's absence, yeah, we're going to be giving receipts to people that were anti-Fred and telling them, yeah, this is what we needed. Remember this? Yeah, he's gone now. You know, just to give some respect on him and call them out on bullshit about what Fred was and wasn't with our team and how important he really was. So, yeah, you know, it's going to be interesting. We don't do well. I'm blaming Fred haters. I'm serious. I'm going to blame them partly for running him out of town and just being assholes and not really giving him a fair shake. And then they will realize the void, he's gone, and just how much he meant to us. And I'll point it out to them. Yeah, you see how much he meant to us, Fred haters. Yeah. All right, let's see. MSJ is also saying, but we only need, as I said, all last year, 10 field goal attempts from our point guard, maybe 12. So it all worked out as I wanted, laugh out loud. I think this signing will be fine. Those 6 extra shots can now go to OG. Yeah, or divvy them up. Give one each to the next top guys. Gary, Precious, OG, Scottie. Give them each one of them. No, I like what you're describing here, MSJ, and I completely agree. The overusage of our point guard in our offense the last few years has not worked really well in some ways. We want a distributor. We want somebody who's going to set up the stud athletes in our lineup and not necessarily the short guy taking all the shots, as the Fred haters have said for the last couple of years. Stop chucking all the shots. Give the ball to OG. Give the ball to Scottie. Well, no, Fred's not going to be involved in all that. Now you're going to see Dennis Schroder. How long until you hate Dennis Schroder for something stupid? Anti-crazy Raptors Nation people. All right, let's see. Nako's saying, I'm cautiously optimistic about Dennis. I'm not. He's a proven commodity. He's been in the league for as long as Fred has. He's a very much a proven vet, and he's going to bring exactly what he does. We know what he's going to do. I'm not cautiously optimistic. I know exactly what he does, and he's going to add it to our stew, and it's going to be very interesting. Very generous for the Rockets to give Fred Luka Doncic money. Yeah, he makes more than Luka Doncic. He makes more than his hero, Kyrie Irving. They signed a deal on the same day, and he's making more money than Kyrie. That's crazy. Now, some of that is the situation of the Rockets. As I said, they had to spend. And also Kyrie not really having a good market for him. He really didn't. In some ways, Kyrie could have turned around and took that Houston money in some ways. But I don't know if MA was interested in working with Kyrie It could be that. I know that Udoka really did want Fred if he had his choice between Kyrie and Fred, and now he's got him. Now he's got him. You got to be little MA Udoka now, Fred, on the court. And once again, you're kindergarten cop. You got to deal with all these knucklehead young kids. And this, listen, some people are saying Houston's an uprising, young, talented team. Well, they are talented. I don't know if they're uprising. This is going to be a really weird situation with them. Once again, you basically just took Eric Gordon and shipped him off. He was doing the Fred role last year. Eric Gordon. Well, now you got a shorter guy who's going to be the Eric Gordon veteran on the team. And, who else is going to be there as a vet? I don't know of any other vets on their roster right now. Everybody else is like 4 years or less on the Rockets roster. So Fred's going to be a little bit weird on that team. In some ways, MA may give him like full ability to ream guys out and talk trash to them and get them to like, I'm a champion, y'all. I'm the motherfucking champion. Y'all need to listen to me and this kind of shit. But who knows? Maybe those youngsters won't want to listen to Fred. Maybe they won't connect with him. Maybe they won't respect his position as team captain or M.A. Udoka's extension on the court. There's a lot of ways this could go south for them down there. I expect Fred to take games off a lot while he's down there. He's going to have mystery injuries, and he's not going to be available for Rockets games in certain ways. Watch. Seriously. He had weird absence this year that was way too long. I know his daughter was born, but listen, you should only miss one game for a pregnancy. I'm sorry. You missed 3 or 4 games for pregnancy? That's weird. That's pushing it. That's really pushing it. And I have a feeling Fred's going to be taking more games off than he would have if he stayed in Toronto. Just because, my ankle doesn't feel too good tonight, MA. And I feel like sitting tonight. That kind of shit's going to happen. We may actually see Fred kind of chill out and not push so hard now that he's really got his bag. In some ways, I wouldn't trust him at this point because I know he's the kind of guy that's going to put in work and do what he does. But in some ways, he doesn't have to do it like he used to here for Houston. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see with that. All right, let's keep going. He's Nako saying, I think the Lakers had the best free agency. Fuck that shit. It's all convoluted and organized because of Klutch, because of Rich Paul. In some ways they did get some good names and they retained the right people. The Lakers free agency yesterday was finally actually kind of smart, just like their trade deadline. So they're making good moves in the periods of when flux happens. Instead of getting rid of good assets or people that have actually helped them do well, they're going and getting Hashimura and Austin Reeves and trying to keep them back. And then they're running and getting Gabe Vincent and some other extra players around there. I didn't look closely. I know they did get a bunch of different guys. Taria and Prince, another one. But fuck that. I hate the Lakers. And I'm not going to give them the kudos like that, Nako. Fuck that shit. Fuck the Lakers. It's all set up and rigged because Rich Paul and LeBron James got dirt on the NBA or something, or it's LeBron. He has to get what he wants because they need to make him happy. So, there's a lot of bullshit in all this. And honestly, I'm less impressed with Klutch after yesterday in all. You know what? That was the kind of thing we see. Well, Gary opted in with, he's still Klutch. Nick's gone. Fred's gone. Klutch, fuck you. Seriously. That's 2 of our most important brains on our team from last year are gone now, and they're Klutch clients. You tell me if I should be happy with Klutch right now. I'm not. Iceman, like Gerben's saying, have to be some more signings and trades happening. Happy Fred VanVleet got his bag because he will be losing a lot in Houston. Yeah, it's for money. It's definitely for money. He definitely chose money and not winning. He didn't choose winning, and he didn't in some ways, I don't feel like he did his family right either. Listen, Fred, you may not want to be in Texas for that long. You don't want your little girls to grow up there. Trust me. Abortion's illegal and they burn books and they are so anti-woke in Texas. You're not going to enjoy this. Seriously. I don't know if you'll get along with MA completely. In some ways, you and Nick had a really good relationship. But MA Udoka's, I've heard that some good things about him in some ways with Boston. But I don't know still. In some ways, this is so strange and weird. I won't predict things too much, but I don't think Houston's going to have the success everybody thinks they were going to. I don't think they will. This is very, very interesting. I think there will be more signings and trades happening. This is another thing that happened because of the fallout with Fred. He saved Thad Young. In some ways, I don't know if that's something that he thought about or something, but we kept that on the contract. And this is the reason why, y'all. If y'all are wondering why, if we had signed Fred to the contract, we would have had to cut Thad immediately afterwards. We're cut him right before. We would have need that 7 million. Well, we don't need that 7 million anymore. So that is actually guaranteed on the 8 last night. We let the deadline pass and we're paying him 8 million next year. Now, some people may get mad about that, but know that that cap space would have been dead and unused. And in some ways, we need him just like the other teams do to get to the 90% of or just fill that time, that space. It's like we'd lose even more money and not be able to spend it on the team if we let Thad walk and we didn't pay him the 8 million. So it's looking like either Thad's going to be a trade piece or he is going to return to the Raptors for next year. So that's an interesting development about the whole thing with Fred going to Houston is Thaddeus is still a Raptor after midnight, and he is getting paid 8 million now. So you got the money, you can't spend it any other way. You might as well spend it and retain an asset. That is the whole factor of logic with Thad Young right now. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Also, Iceman saying no more playoffs and no more All-Star games with the top guards in the West. Yeah, no, he's not doing any of that. He may have hit his peak as a player in Toronto the last couple of years with his All-Star appearance, his franchise records with our team. Now I want somebody to go take those records from him. Seriously, Scottie, go get more than he did points wise. Go get more assists than him at some point. I want your name at the top, Barnes, with you taking those records from Fred, those franchise records that he holds right now. I do. I want to see somebody come and take them from him. Nameless is saying, just goes to show how much these teams around the league truly value our treasures, despite what they claim. I know they overvalue. They overpay for them. Jeremy Grant was looking like he was going to be the biggest overpay of the night until Fred came out with that. And he is definitely the biggest overpay of free agency yesterday. Houston had to do it. It's a special circumstance. We are the victims of it to a degree. There's nothing we could have done. Bobby and Masai's hands were tied. There's nothing we could have done about this. And some media people are coming out. There's people kind of coming out and talking trash about our front office. That's part of the reason why I want to show the love for Bobby right now is because, listen, our front office is doing the best they can in every instance, in every situation, in every circumstance and setting. You think that they're trying to let Fred walk like this? No. In some ways, this was a situation they couldn't have avoided in any kind of way. Well, let's look at it this way. If anybody's going to leave like this in this kind of way, I would rather it be Fred than some of the other guys on our team. So in some ways, this all works out in some ways, even though it's not the best situation. And anybody who thinks the front office could have done something to make this not happen, they really couldn't. They really, really couldn't. You got to understand there was a special advantage and situation and an impetus for Houston to spend that money, and they wanted to spend that money. Brewster's Millions, I'm telling you, that's what was going on. Seriously. Nameless is saying, yeah, I read that one already. G said, I said this before, and it did sit well with you, but DeMar took a cut and got traded. Fred was there when it happened and saw his sadness and even shame. Players are pawns in the end. Yeah, I can't disagree with this. And you're right, seriously. But in some ways, he's going to find that the loyalty the Raptors had is still a little bit better than other teams. He will have no loyalty in Houston. And they will cut him and trade him. They will do whatever the fuck they want with him. And they won't do it in the way that we would have done it with him. We would have worked with him in certain ways. So I get what you're saying, G. And, it didn't sit well with me because I didn't like the way DeMar got treated. In some ways, that pissed me off because I really love the guys who are real ones and say this. Fred said he wanted to be a Raptors for life at the beginning of the season. Well, this is already dead and over. I hate these statements these guys made. Fred said, I want to be a Raptor for life. Nick said, Masai said, you dream of getting Nick Nurse. You dream of that. Well, this fucking shit happened. And it's kind of fucked up. It really is. No, I don't get mad. I'm not mad at Fred for making the decision. It's the right decision. You get that kind of money put in front of you, you got to say yes in some ways. I just wish that in some ways he had proven people wrong and come back for cheaper and done what I'd said yesterday. But it is what it is. He's made his decision and we can't fault him. A lot of us have the right attitude. He went and got the money and he deserves it. And we're proud of him. and we wish him well, at least in life, not necessarily on his team. So yeah, it's it is what it is. G's also saying, I'm happy though that now players will look at Toronto as a great landing spot. Playing here gets you paid. Yeah, that's undeniable. And everybody has to admit that that's the damn truth for sure. For sure, they got to admit that's the damn truth. All right, I'm gonna keep going with these comments. Really good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about today, and we can go a little long today. I'm not worried about the cutoff. Maybe cut me off at 90 minutes instead of an hour today. That would be good, maybe. All right, let me see. Where was I? Oh wow, there's quite a bit here, so I'm gonna have to get going. All right. Tom Duke is here. Good to see Tom Duke. As soon as Fred signed, you called picking up Dennis's any more players on your freak radar. What's next? What are the Cavs thinking? Well, they're actually, this was weird. All right, I'll break this down. I'll do this with Tom Duke is saying this, that like last night after Fred left, I called it that they were going to sign Dennis Schroder right away before they did. And I was right. Moments later, they actually did go get Dennis Schroder. He's a right fit. And I really like him being on our team all of a sudden. I'm a fan of his. And he's always been on my list of a player I'd really like to see on the Raptors. So in a lot of ways, I'm very, very happy about the makeup acquisition to like damage control afterwards. That's what I'm saying. We're celebrating Bobby Webster today. And I love that he was on his toes enough to make that happen quick enough, that he has contingency plans. If things don't go a certain way, all right, Fred, it didn't work. Well, what do we do, Masai? I know what to do, Masai. And Bobby gets on the phone. He said, Dennis, you want to come to Toronto? Boom. All right, he's coming to Toronto. That's what we got to love our front office. Once again, the perception of fans think that the front office is failing. Well, listen, just like a baseball player has a batting average, they have a certain percentage of success on the decisions that they make. And if you want to go and take all 30 teams in the NBA and you look at those GMs, go look at the success percentages for most of the teams across the NBA, and you will see that they are below 50%, a lot of them. Most of their decisions do not pan out. They become fails. They're idiotic moves. They're stupid shit like John Collins getting traded to Utah, all that kind of stuff. Now, if you go and look at our track record with our front office in the last 10 years, you will see way, way more successes. And if you counted it just like a baseball average as a hit or a miss, you would see us probably hitting around 70%, while most teams are hitting around 40 or 30%. So I want to check Raptors Nation on the assessing of the front office job on different things. There's going to be failures and losses for every front office in the NBA. And it's how you deal with them and how you bounce back from them. And that's what I'm saying. Our front office is so capable, and they are doing such a good job with the conditions and the situations in the NBA that they are presented with at any moment, whether it's having to relocate the team to Tampa for a season, whether it's having to deal with a pandemic all the fucking sudden, having to deal with Uncle Dennis. Our front office has been badass at keeping things afloat through misery and crazy calamity and losing losses of people and assets and different things. And we're still managed to compete and do pretty well. So I hate that people today may be coming after Bobby because it's not necessary. And in fact, these guys are successful front office if you really look at the whole body of work compared to places like Orlando, Washington, New York, Atlanta. We can name Charlotte. Go over a whole fucking NBA and look at front offices, and you tell me if you feel more confident in that front office over our front office. The Lakers, that's another one. You really feel that confident? I know they did well recently, but for the most part, the Lakers have not been in a front office that you could be too confident in. That's what I'm saying. So realize the percentage of success and failure. You guys go after a couple failures that Masai and Bobby have, and you point them out and you really put them on blast. Well, everybody's going to have failures from time to time. How many are you catching? That's what I'm saying. You catching them like Atlanta? You catching them like Charlotte? Okay, so stop fucking talking shit about our front office, because their percentage of success is much better than a lot of other front offices in this league. Seriously. So that's what I'm saying. We're doing great with our front office, and that Dennis Schroder move and that Jakob re-signing yesterday are two of the epitome of saying what I'm talking about right here. That we got a center. They wanted us to get a center. We got a center. You wanted us to get a three-point shooter. We went and got a three-point shooter. You want us to get a good coach? We went and got a good coach. The front office is on it, and we love you, Bobby Webster. And we want you guys to continue to do your jobs for a long, long time because you're doing a great job. And all these casuals out here may talk trash about them on Twitter today. They may say this, they may say that because of Fred this. They got lost Fred for nothing. Well, what the fuck are you supposed to do in this situation? Houston's the one that decides whether they want to do a sign and trade. That could have been possible last night, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And in some ways, y'all can say we lost him for nothing. No, we didn't. We got so many good years out of him. We played Fred, and we got the value out of Fred from playing him. And in some ways, everybody says, oh, you lose things, you lost, you walk. Like this idiot Tim Chisholm, who's an old writer who hasn't been around much lately, but lately he's tweeting a lot. Listen, this whole idea that there's a talent drain from the Raptors, well, that's the U.S.'s fault. And I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to talk about all that tomorrow. Sunday special report, the demise of having the 2019 Toronto Raptors championship team on our roster. And I'll talk very, very, very in detail and a lot of stuff about what I feel about what happened and why the Raptors team got dismantled over the years to get to this point. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Well, I don't know what's next, Tom. We'll have to see what happens. There's some players that are still out there. I think that maybe possibly Dalano will get a new deal now with us because there's money freed up in some ways. In some ways, we kind of wish we hadn't let him go unrestricted, but we had to do that just in case for Fred. And in some ways, we maybe wish we still had him restricted like Jeff and Ron. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. But I think Dalano has a high probability of still coming back here. Sad to hear that he was interviewing with the Celtics last night, talking to them, but he didn't sign officially with anyone. So that kind of tells me that he's looking at his different suitors. I hope that we just sign him back. We may need him right now. We need all the different kind of people that possibly could run point for us this year to be available. And Dalano Banton is somebody that we'd like to keep. It'd be weird if he was in the Celtics jersey next year, our Toronto guy. Really, really weird and gross. O'Shea Brissett joined the Celtics yesterday. And that's a Canadian guy in the Celtics uniform. Ugh, gross, barf. Ugh. Tom Duke saying happy Canada Day. Speaking of Canadians, Raptor Freak family, let's go. Yes, happy Canada Day to everybody. Who's July the 1st, baby. Canada Day today. Yes, yes, and yes. MSJ saying we dodged a bullet. $43 million a year for a player who shot under 40%. I really think Fred is a good player, but the Rockets have just signed themselves into what? Fred shooting 25 shots a game. Yeah, I don't even know how they're going to balance things down there. I have no idea what Houston's going to do. I don't care. They have to figure that all out on their own. There's all kinds of questions I have about whether this team's going to get along with their coach, whether Fred's going to get along with the team, whether he's going to get along with the coach, whether he's going to like the franchise, whether he's going to like the city, whether he's going to like Texas. There's all kinds of questions I have about this whole situation with Fred. And I really do feel like, listen, he's choosing money over happiness. I don't think he's going to be happy down there. He's pretty happy here in Toronto for the most part. But I think we're going to see Fred's not very happy. In fact, we may see something similar to what happened with Lowry when he went to Miami. A lot of disrespect. A lot of people not really honoring who he was on this team. The legend of Fred here doesn't matter to them down there to a degree. And we may see some out-of-pocket disrespect towards Fred down there. And it's going to be similar with Nick, too. Nick had a certain prestige and respect around the Raptors franchise that he may not get around Sixers. And Fred ain't going to get it down in Houston. And they're going to realize just how good they had it up here as far as the way the organization treats them and they interact with them. And then also the press and even the fans to a degree. It's going to be just really different and weird for these guys. And it's not going to be the same feeling. It's not. Philadelphia is not the same place as Toronto. And Houston isn't either. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Let's see. And I think it is funny that he gets paid more than he shoots. People are making that note very, very strongly on Twitter last night. He gets paid more than he shoots. G saying Dennis shoots 33% from three on low volume. This usually goes down as volume goes up. Fred shot 34% from three on 8.8 attempts per game per spacing. OG and Gary need to shoot more on the perimeter. Yes, I love that idea. And like I said, Dennis isn't going to be taking that much of a pie of the offense of shots. this means opportunity for other guys. So once again, addition by subtraction to a degree with Fred, this is definitely going to happen as far as opportunities for guys on our team. Evelyn's saying, yes, happy Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to Granny Evelyn and baby Candace and the rest of the family. We love you, Evelyn. 2 weeks from today, July the 15th, 3 p.m., Real Sports Bar and Grill, the Raptor Freak meet and greet. We'll all be heading down there to hang out. We know that To The Points King, Brian is going to be there also, the Saborans, Monique, the super fan, Lawrence, and I hope you will grace us with your presence also, Evelyn. 2 weeks from today, 3 p.m., Real Sports Bar and Grill, the Raptor Freak meet and greet next to Scotiabank Arena. Come down there for prizes and fun, and hopefully we'll live stream too that day. G saying what he got is equivalent to around 60 million more after tax adjustments. And that has to do with the tax-free Texas and all kinds of stuff. I get it. It is what it is. Oh, well, it is what it is. Adriana's here. Good to see Adriana. I still love Fred, and good luck on the Raptors. That's the right attitude. I say good luck on the Raptors. I said that, and that was a miscue because I don't want to say good luck to the Rockets. But I don't want him to be successful on the team. No, I don't. I really do not. And honestly, I'm feeling pretty safe that probably won't happen, that he won't be successful down there. But Adriana, I'm so glad that you still love Fred and you still got his jersey, and it is what it is. Nako saying, I'm hearing rumblings that Houston might get Brook Lopez. See, I thought he was going to eat up a big chunk of that money, and well, he may still. And that could be hurtful for the Bucks team, for sure. Losing a very important defensive player for them, that will hurt the Bucks in a similar way that how this is hurting us. So we'll have to see if this comes true. They definitely can spend more and pay him more than I think Milwaukee can. So we'll see if a similar situation happens with Brook Lopez in the Milwaukee Bucks. Race Mode's here. Good to see Edmund. Good morning from Connecticut. Happy Canada Day. Did we really lose Fred and give Dennis the bag he dropped? Well, we did lose Fred, and Dennis is getting like 12 million a year. He's getting a pretty good bag. It's more than he's gotten most of his career. Dennis lost that bag at one point with the Lakers over dumb stuff, kind of with LeBron and stuff like that. But you know what? I love this. I love this acquisition. I'm really ready to root for Dennis Schroder as a Raptor. Some reason I have pre-sight, and sometimes I see guys that are in the league in Raptors uniforms ahead of time. I had a really strong vision around 2011 that Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry, Jeremy Lin were all going to be on the Toronto Raptors championship team. I predicted this like 8 years earlier. It's very strange how I don't know why. Sometimes I get pre-sight. And that's part of the reason why I'm good at like predicting stuff is sometimes I have like visions. And I had a little bit of a vision about the Raptors championship before, and specifically those players would be on that team for sure. Serge, Mark, Jeremy, and Kyle, that those guys would be on a championship team in Toronto. And I was thinking that around 2010, 2011. I don't know how I knew that. I don't know what was going on with my brain. Anyway, I'm glad Dennis is here. Good luck to Fred in life. I'll say that. Mike's here, Logical Raptors Fanatic in the house. 2:00, he's dropping something. So check out Logical Raptors Fanatic. It's his second part on the CBA. Mike, there's so many rules to the CBA that matter, and I know this is very interesting situation we were in yesterday. Salute the Real Ones Project Truth always. Fred VanVleet just made us the development capital from undrafted to max contract, and didn't IT him like Boston. The Rockets wouldn't have gave him a max if he was bad. Yeah, well, they needed to spend the money. In some ways, I don't think he's a bad player either, but that's a lot of money. And we see that he's making more money than Spider, Mitchell, and a bunch of other players in the league now. It's really crazy. Transit's here. Guardian Transit, good to see you. Welcome, Dennis. Flynn might just split time now and get a chance for 20-plus minutes per game. All about development now. Scottie put in a position for some serious improvement. All right. Well, this is what they were saying. Get rid of Fred so that Scottie can get better. Well, this is another thing we can test. What if Scottie doesn't make a leap because Fred's gone? And everybody will be like, well, that didn't work the way I thought it would. There's a lot of like things we can test now because Fred is out of the control group. And we can now see if all the predictions that Fred haters had will come true. And I have all the receipts on all y'all's beliefs about Fred. And we will come back around and see if you were right when the season comes around. Just how much he was important to this team, whether Scott gets more opened up just because Fred's absence. We'll see if this is true or not. Some people are coming to the conclusion that this is going to actually hurt Scottie, that Freddie's gone now. So yeah, we're going to see if these Fred haters were right about unlocking Scott because Fred's gone all of a sudden. I don't fully believe that's true, and they're going to be shocked that they were wrong. I like this. Schroder starts, or if Malachi could start, why not? Like I said, these are battles that they should be competed for in the training camp, in the preseason, leading up to the season. And Malachi should have a good shot to inherit Fred's position. He was the guy who came in and took over for him when he would get injured. So why wouldn't it make sense that Malachi gets the very first chance to be our starting point guard next season? At least try that look and see what you do with it. In some ways, him being more of a shooting guard than a point guard could be very workable with Scottie's presence on the court, wanting to be more of a passer. So, I think that Malachi should get the first crack at it. Seriously, he's earned it, and we've trained him up to be that guy. Without Nick there anymore and Fred not there anymore, I'm sure Eric Flynn is just like, it's your time now, Malachi. It's your time, Malachi. It's your chance. Eric Flynn's like, you're out of the nursery, son. You have grown up. You are not in a nursery anymore. This could be very true. I want to see this. I want to see Malachi get unlocked is what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Troy Henry's here. Good to see Troy Henry. Welcome, Dennis. Bye-bye, Fred. You got the bag, and that's what everybody works for. So how can we be mad? That's right. Don't hate the player. Don't hate that he got a bag. He just got his money, and a lot of people, that kind of money was sitting in front of you. What would you do? So it's not, it's a very humble, crazy person that may deny that money in their life. I mean, it's crazy. Seriously. I mean, I'm not mad at him for that. In some ways, listen, I'm not going to slag on Fred like some people will right now. I'll slag on Nick because things were handled poorly with him. But Fred, nothing was handled poorly. And he made a clean exit where I have no ill feelings towards him. In fact, I love him. He's a GOAT to me. He is a very important Raptor to our culture and our history. And he always will be, no matter what happens in the future. So let's see. MSJ saying Fred VanVleet is one of the luckiest players with the Rockets cap. Yeah, it's timing. In some ways, you got to realize this void's going to be filled for just this one time yesterday. And now everybody's going to be up to the rules. There's never ever going to be this kind of situation that the Houston Rockets were in yesterday. That is a very singular, unique event that happened because of this very specific timing of the CBA's release and having to comply with the rules quickly. So in some ways, this will never, ever happen exactly like this ever again, where a team has to spend. They very much have to spend or they get in trouble. Yeah, they had to. Let's move on with Dennis. He is capable and will let OG flourish. That's my prediction. Let's get Scottie Barnes to try out as a point guard. Win-win. That's the way we do this. People are going to celebrate our defeats. People are going to celebrate. There's Boston people that are absolutely ecstatic today. Sixers Nation, ecstatic. Fred, that guy who used to kill them in a Raptors jersey, is gone. This is the thing that people celebrate like this. This is what I'm saying. We're down about it because we just lost this dude. And other people that hate us are celebrating right now because Fred is not in a Raptors jersey anymore. He's not an annoyance to them in the same kind of way that he was. I had a similar feeling when I saw Marcus Smart go to Memphis. It's the same kind of thing. Well, Boston just got worse. And people can say, well, Toronto got worse last night. And I don't disagree with them. To a degree, we're going to have to earn it and prove that we can do it another way without Fred. But we could be better without Fred. But for right now, it looks like we're going to be worse because that just is the factor. Like you lose your captain, you lose somebody the caliber of Fred, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it to a degree in some ways. So hopefully the roster that's still here and Darko can make up for the absence of him and fill in the void in a very, very good way, efficient way, a way that makes us win. So we'll have to see. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. New era moving forward. Fred VanVleet, 43.3333333333 per year. He chose the bag, and I was not happy he held us hostage. Oh, well. There's nothing we could do. Seriously, in some ways, this situation was so specifically tailor-made for yesterday, and it just happened to deal with us that I'm a little little fishy about this, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. Sunday special report, the dismantling of the Toronto Raptors 2019 championship team, how it happened, and where we got to where Siakam is the sole survivor from the championship contributors that played in the playoffs. We still have 3 championship rings on our roster, but only one of them actually played in the finals or in the playoffs. So, or mostly in the playoffs. I mean, Chris didn't really play that year, and OG was hurt. So, oh my gosh. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Happy Canada Day. I'm not surprised about Fred's decision. We could see it coming. It just looks bad that he was given so much money after a regular season. Hope it doesn't rub off on Pascal and Scottie for future negotiations, as they are way better. Well, he did set a price in some ways, but I don't know how this is going to work with all this. I have no idea how this is going to work in the future. In some ways, I'm glad that he's not on our team being the highest paid player, because he shouldn't be. He really, really shouldn't be. And it is what it is. Let's not move forward in fear, worrying about the other guys. They're going to all want to get bags anyway. We know Scottie's going to want to get the max every single time, whatever's going to happen. And if he's in this situation like Fred was in yesterday, he's going to do the same thing that Fred did. Seriously, I'm not going to like lie to y'all. I know Scottie Barnes will take the big money no matter what in whatever situation he's presented. And Fred, a loyal guy, a guy who said he would be a Raptor for life, Scottie's in that same situation as Fred was yesterday. He would do the same damn thing. I'm telling you right now. So it really is that we've got to be smart about how to keep the guys we really want to keep and the asset management. In some ways, there was a risk with Fred in this situation that we couldn't avoid. But at least with this player, it may have been a risk management that we're like, okay, this is a player. If we're going to lose anybody, well, Freddie, all right. In some ways, we really got him to his height, his ceiling. I don't see Fred progressing much higher than how he plays already. It's not like he's going to make another huge leap and be a whole other level of player. No. In some ways, we derived all the gains out of him through like his progress as developing to get to the level that he's at. And at this point, I think he's at his ceiling. So it's kind of like, in some ways, paying that much money for him. Well, you're going to get what we got exactly from him, and maybe even less, depending on injury or decline in his game very soon. So, yeah, it's their folly. Houston is a bad managed team, and they overpaid for Fred yesterday. And I love Fred. And I'm not mad at him for making that money. I think they're foolish for paying him that money, is what I'm saying. So, Fiercely saying, necessary evil, Fred had to go. I understand you say the NBA plays a role in the dismantling of the 2019 squad, but players and coaches are grown people who took their own decisions. Well, I'm just going to say this, and I'll talk about it way more and elaborate it. The settings and the situations are set up in some ways by the NBA. This one yesterday was for sure. And I will explain to you why it was with Kawhi and the other guys too. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. Special report, the dismantling of our team and how it wasn't totally our choice. The NBA kind of forced it in some ways. Cool Cat saying, I look forward to Scottie as point guard and Pascal, OG, and Scottie trio. Pascal will mentor Scottie, and everyone likes him. Fred said money comes first. Well, it does really go along with the whole trend of him saying, we're going to get you that bag. We want to get you bags. Well, Fred, if you're a bag man, you're all about bags. Well, you're the baggiest bagman of all bagmen ever at this point. And you know what? I can't hate on that. You go ahead. If that was your thing all along, you excelled and you got the highest point you can get in the NBA. Well, you deserve this. If this is what you want to get the bag and sell out now, well, don't expect to win now. And your route of what you care about in the NBA is now very evident. You just care about money. You don't care about Toronto. You don't care about more championships. You think you're going to fool your head into thinking you can win championships in Houston, but you're sadly mistaken. So it is what it is. He's got to remind himself when he's not happy and depressed about things around him. Well, he's got a big, huge bank account. That's what he's got to look at. That's going to be his happiness from now on, is the money. It's the money. Yeah. G saying, my concern with Scottie as a full-time point guard are the fans, to be honest. The Darko system allows for turnovers, and Scottie has to work on that. Will they allow him to fail forward? Already seeing trade Scottie. You're already seeing people do that. Well, that's what I'm saying. This is the fucked up shit. The other forces from other places are trying to disassemble our assets. Now that Fred's gone, well, the next person they're going to talk about is Scottie. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. That's why we need to cut them out. We need to make them not important. In fact, honestly, if Raptors people can just get off Twitter and just let those people be their toxic mess and go away, whatever. I don't want to hear this. In fact, this infuriates me, G, that people are already turning on Scottie after they stood for Scottie all year and went after Fred. Now that he's gone, they want to go on at Scottie. That's so fucked up and messed up. Now, one thing I hate about fans is they want everything perfect. There's going to be turnovers. There's going to be missed shots. There's going to be losses. There's going to be things like players leaving. There's wins and losses in sports. There's nobody who's 100% perfect, successful all the fucking time. So Raptors Nation, quit your fucking bullshit. We got to take L's sometimes and stop like putting so much on the L's and looking at them so intensely. Scottie makes some turnovers when he's trying to become a point guard for us. Y'all need to allow for him to have failures and mistakes. And when he does, stop fucking them putting on blast and saying, oh, he's no good and all this kind of stuff. Nobody's fucking perfect in this world, especially you motherfuckers that are judging them. I probably could come and look at your life and analyze it in all kinds of ways and say, you're not fucking perfect. So who the fuck are you to tell our guys to be so perfect on the court? I'll come down there and say, well, look at you, motherfucker, with your fucking bullshit and this. Yeah, you're fucking judging Scott. You're fucking judging Fred. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They expect perfection. Well, you ain't gonna fucking get it. And you're not realistic or fans in certain ways. So fuck you if you're like that. And if you, and seriously, if Darko's gonna allow more turnovers than Nick, but we still win games, I'll be all about that. Turnovers are not totally the most horrible thing in the world. Nick made them such a bad thing, and we didn't see a lot of them. So there may be a little bit of like a mistaken thing that oh, we're a worse team because we have more turnovers this year. Well, it's a different system. It's a different coach, and he allows for them more because of his coaching philosophies. So, yeah, get ready for difference. And I'm just sick of the critical Raptors people. You all can fuck right off right now. And I will listen. I was more active yesterday on Twitter and different places fighting for the perception of what happened with the Raptors last night. And I will continue to do that through this channel and just in general, the way I carry myself and who I talk to every day. Is that's what we got to do as Raptors Freak Cult, is we got to stand up for the honor of our team because there's so much bullshit like G's saying. They're already going after Scottie. Fred's gone less than 24 hours, and they've switched from Scott. I'll bet you Pensera. Let's go watch him and see what he fucking changes his content to. Who's he going to pick on our team to pick on now? Seriously, he's just going to pick a different player. He's going to do the same kind of content on his channel. He's out there to help destroy the Raptors. Is what he is. A lot of these people are just out there to help destroy the Raptors and make sure they're nowhere near ever again winning another championship or being a top team. Seriously, that's what a lot of people around the NBA want. They all can get together and they do different shit. Somebody pays Pensera money just to make up a bullshit channel where he says he's a Raptors fan, but he's trying to destroy things from the inside. Let's see if that bird starts singing a different tune about a different player, just like he did about Fred last year. Seriously. Pay attention to this and understand the playbook of these motherfuckers. So you understand, you're educated to it, and you can recognize it and say, oh, well, fuck, you are a fucked up, toxic motherfucker in Raptors Nation. So fuck you. And that's what you should say to them, seriously. Wayne's saying Fred taking almost $50 million more on his second NBA contract isn't about the Raptors. It's about Fred choosing generational wealth. This is exactly right. Hard to blame him. It's business, and Chev was right. It is what it is. You know, it's not a whole lot we could have done. It's just a perfect storm of events. And it is what it is. Our time with Fred is up. It's fine. I'm okay with it. In some ways, I'm kind of relieved. In some ways, he's gone, just like Fred haters are. Because in some ways, it's taxing and annoying to hear y'all fucking complain about him so much. So, yeah, let's see what your new flavor of fucking hate is, motherfuckers. And like I said, if you're picking another one of our players, we'll know your damn playbook right away. Now you start turning on Scottie or Pascal. Yeah, we know that you fuckers are just fucking not fans. You're just fucking people trying to destroy us. Mike's saying, I don't know if this proves Fred is greedy. Not going to lie. It would be a really bad decision to turn down a 3-year max contract when things weren't set in stone here. Like sign for 30 here, then get traded at some point. Yeah, Mike, he's more likely to get traded from Houston than Toronto. We know this. We know this, Mike. You know, he's greedy. He's greedy. Yes, he is. Look, he put that suit on. He has to wear it. He is greedy. He's been that kind of guy. I didn't want to put him on blast for this. I will go a little against Fred, but not like I am against Nick right now. He always talked about money way too much. He's way too much money. He always talked about bags, getting people bags on open gym and shit like that. So yeah, in some ways, maybe he is the selfish that Masai was talking about last year. And that, now that he's gone, well, maybe we're less selfish as a team because Fred's gone. So, and I'm not talking about on the court. I'm talking about with the money situation. On the court, he's not a selfish guy. That's the part that people are going to think I'm saying he's selfish on the court. No, that's not what I meant. I meant that in some ways he's selfish because of the way he looks at money. And I don't like that. He's the opposite of me. I'm very not that kind of way with money. And he is very much the opposite of me in that kind of way. So yeah, it is what it is. It's whatever. We're gonna move on and we continue and we're gonna be badasses. We're gonna do great. We're gonna have other opportunities for other guys to step up and take his role. So I'm all about it. Let's see. Fiercely saying at least he's going to the other conference. Yeah, I'm very happy about that too. We only see him twice a year, and it's very likely we'll kick his ass. Seriously, we've beaten the Rockets pretty solidly over the years, and we should continue to do that, even with Fred on their team. We should continue to do that. Yeah, Nick, that's part of the reason why I'm really mad at Nick, too, is shots fired. You're in the Atlantic Division with us. We're going to see you at least 4 times this year. We'll only see Fred twice. And maybe he won't even play 1 or 2 of those games. Who knows? He'll definitely do the return game to Toronto, but maybe he doesn't play against us in Houston the first game. Like Lowry's had a lot of mysterious DMPs when he plays against the Raptors in the recent years since he went to Miami. We'll have to see how that all works out. Yeah, and fuck you, Nick Nurse. I'll say that one more time. David saying, I have to say I'm proud of Fred. That's one hell of a bag. We know he is goal driven. I have a feeling this has a lot to do with it. Sorry to all the Raptor freaks who wanted him back. It is what it is. I mean, wishful thinking. Obviously, I wanted him back because it's just good to have continuity, and he is very important. As I said, he's a franchise cornerstone that we've just lost, and we're going to have to figure out how to fill the void of what he contributes. But it's kind of exciting to see who does and see who will step up and be that guy. He's goal driven. Yeah, his goals were to make the NBA, to get in the NBA, to make the team. Then to make the starters, make the rotation, make the starters. Get an NBA championship. Okay, these are more goals. Well, all the goals, maybe professionally on the court, have been done. Now he just wants to get money. It's kind of the thing I'm seeing. Because I don't think he has a better chance to win in Houston. And even if he thought that, well, this is with the Raptors, I don't think he really thought that we weren't going to be competitive with him coming back. I think it's just that money got put on the table and he couldn't say no. He just couldn't say no. And I think that, like Mike said, you see that kind of money in front of you, you just can't turn it down. It's like you can't say no. I mean, it takes a very strong person of high morals and to be like, you know what, I don't value money as much as everybody else, to say, yeah, I don't want this. And they stay here. Chris may be in that situation. I don't know. Probably he would take that money. But in some ways, he's nodded that money isn't the most important thing that makes his world go round. I mean, this is a kid who slept on a bus for a year to avoid being in the house with his abusive boyfriend of his mom. So yeah, there's, different people have different takes on this kind of stuff. Well, Fred got generational wealth. Can't hit on that. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, Lex, don't worry about it. Fred VanVleet is a businessman first. He will always choose money. He renewed last time because we gave him the most money to stay. It's all business. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. We couldn't offer him as much as Houston. He took the Houston money. Fiercely saying Fred is woke to the papers. Laugh out loud. He's woke to the money. Well, he's still a pretty woke guy. I mean, he was very much outspoken about the stuff in Tampa with Black Lives Matter. He was actually one of the main leaders in the NBA that spoke out on political stuff because he is very well spoken and educated and intelligent on these kind of topics. So he is very, very, very woke, and he's very political. He studied sociology in school, and so he understands social problems. He understands situations that are going on. And when he goes to Texas, he's going to find he's in a whole different world. Seriously. You can't go from the one end of the political spectrum to the other like this, and you won't feel it. And in some ways, he's not totally welcome there like he is up here for being politically outspoken. So in some ways, Fred may have to temper his opinions and not be talking out. It could very well be that his coach is like, we're not woke here, Fred. So don't you be doing any woke stuff here. You're in Texas now, a red state, playing for the Rockets. And we ain't gonna have you be woke around here because you may cause controversies with us. And we don't want that. So you cannot speak out politically anymore about how you feel. In some ways, he's losing freedom to go to Texas because Texas takes freedom away from people all the time down there, whether it's the right to have an abortion or now they're giving the rights to people to discriminate on LGBTQ status. Yeah, the Supreme Court is dragging the USA back a century right now. It's really crazy. David's saying Fred didn't want 43 per year. He wanted a max. Max is max, and that was the goal, not a penny less. Yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it. Jimmy's saying with contracts nowadays, I wouldn't have minded Fred getting 4 years at 120. But hey, all these pitchfork wielding fans are happy now. But who's going to be their next victim? Laugh my ass off. They need to leave. I'm sick of them. Yeah, I hate this. And I don't fully predict this. That like somebody's saying they're already going after Scott. That's fucked up. Just stop. They want to tear us down from the inside. Fuck these people. We need more people going to their nations and fucking shit up in the middle, obviously. We have a counteroffensive. Are there any natural trolls in Raptors Nation that would like to go do good work with their very kind of nefarious kind of activities that like to do? We need to go get them in other nations, like Sixers Nation. Woo, that's right for a good Raptors fan to go in there and just mess things up with Nick Nurse real quick. If they're going to do this shit to us, we need people to do it from our nation to go into their nations and fuck shit up. We need somebody in the Celtics Nation right away. Somebody in the Sixers Nation, if y'all are already still there, thank you and continue doing whatever you're doing. Because the confusion that fan nations can cause is very powerful at this point. And this would be, something we need to utilize as a fan nation. Raptors social media nation is very strong, and we need to be stronger in like subterfuge and going out there. I'm serious. I'm calling on people that like to naturally troll or do kind of nefarious things online. Go fuck with the other nations like they seem to be fucking with us. Because we need to balance this out. We need to cause all kinds of like confusion, Tatum and Brown bullshit versus we need to, whatever with Nick Nurse and Joel Embiid coming up this season. Yeah, go in there. Rip the scab off and start poking the wound on them like they've been doing to us in the last couple of years. Because we need that counteroffensive because they've fucking had some success this year, fucking us up with Nick and Fred. Seriously. All right, let's keep going. Seymour saying, I knew he would take the bait. Racemont saying, congratulations to Fred. I would call his contract the Kyle Lowry butterfly effect, undrafted champion, big balls, and now big bag. Yeah, I mean, that's all fair. That's all fair. Fiercely saying, he who should not be named will shift his anger on Pascal now. Just watch. I hope not. I mean, whatever. The way we can just like push these people aside and just marginalize them more and more, the better. G saying, I wanted him back, but also always said he has to do what's best for his family. Loyalty to his family is first. I don't see it as greedy, to be honest. He can be traded at any point, so he might as well make history. Yeah, I mean... I think we're just arguing semantics. Once again, G, we see things the same way. You may not like my wording exactly. At times I've said, yeah, he's greedy. He's about money. He's definitely more about money than, some people. But, it is whatever. I'm not degrading him for it. He did what was right for him and his family. And I'm not like saying that it was the wrong move. It is what it is. It's just what it is. If I call him greedy, well, in some ways that's true. In some ways that is true. Cool Cat saying, very glad OG is not with Klutch anymore. Very glad about that also. G saying, Gary is negotiating a multi-year deal and apparently is very lucrative for him. Yeah, I was surprised that they started the chatter about this around midnight last night, that Gary's actually doing his extension now. Well, in some ways, things are opened up a bit more with Fred's exit, that they can probably parcel out a bit more money for Gary at this point. That's another hidden benefit of getting Fred off the books. Everybody says, oh, well, you lose a guy off the books like that for nothing. What do you get? Well, you get more money to spend on the guys you have already, and they can get more pay, and then maybe they stay. It's more likely they stay. So that's how I look at it. That's a benefit for it. Van Hoot saying, as I said, we had a ceiling that we are, I don't know. Van Hoot, you come in, you're like, as I said, you haven't been here. You haven't said nothing yet. He comes in right away. As I said, this is your first comment. We had a ceiling that we were going to pay, and at some point you can't get your team. I also suggested that he bet on himself and he was going to cash in. Shouts to him, but outline this. Okay, Kenyon, you want kudos? You want a fucking cookie? Because you're right. I don't do this, man. Like when you and Mike get on here and you're like, I was right. I called this. You want a cookie? Is that what you want? Everybody makes predictions every day and they're right or wrong all the time. Okay, you were right, whatever. But yeah, I'm all about what you say in the middle there. You're not going to pay this guy the money like Houston did to gut your team. It wasn't realistic. We couldn't do it anyway. There's not like there was any choice for Bobby Webster in this situation. As far as like, we can't match that. It's like I said yesterday, if he signs that paper with Houston, he's done. He's gone. He's there. That choice is done. It's his choice. You want to sign the paper? You're in Houston. We can't do anything about it. In some ways, he was a unrestricted. He was a restricted free agent. It was actually an unrestricted free agent with Houston in particular. So it's like if he had signed a deal for like 120 for 4 years with the Celtics, we could have matched it and we would have kept him. But we can't match that with that kind of money in this situation. Wayne saying Fred isn't worth it. Let's all be fair. We wouldn't and shouldn't be paying him that much money. I see no problem with Fred's decision. Personal family responsibility comes first. Yes. And this is the way we should all be painting it as fans of the Raptors, is we couldn't do anything about this situation. It was unavoidable. Fred is gone now. We pick up the pieces, we move on, and we go into the next era of Raptors basketball. And it is what it is. It's just what it is. It's what can you do? You just stay present, you move forward with what you got. Mike saying Jimmy Pope it's Masai now, and it was instantly. They are still complaining. It wasn't about Fred, and people are trying to say he was only worth like 25 million. Are proven wrong completely, so they don't double you. Yeah, they're twisting it every which way they can to try and make it fit whatever their narrative and what they want to do. In some ways, I do the same thing on this channel, and I understand that. So I very much understand how they're doing it in reverse, in the negative way towards us. I'm a force and then opposite towards what they're doing towards us. And that's what I'm saying. I'm sick of this shit. They've been on Masai and Bobby a bit for a month now. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing the Share the Love Club for Bobby Webster. Listen, Bobby Webster is a GM that most of the other teams in the league would love to have in their franchise at this point. He's a proven winner and very astute and doing very well. He's a solid commodity in some ways, and we don't want him to go anywhere else. In fact, I'm really happy with our front office. And people that aren't happy with the front office right now, just shut the fuck up. You're not paying attention. And as I said, their success rate is way higher than most of the franchises' front offices. So we need to keep this all in perspective as the whole of the NBA and realize you could have a bad front office that operates like Washington or Atlanta. And we don't. We have not had a bad front office for a while. People see that as an asset for the Raptors. They're going to try and destroy it, and they're going to sully the name of Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster in the coming months. And y'all need to just recognize this and not add to the noise. Don't get in that crowd with them and start coming after them. In fact, do the opposite. Defend our guys against them and tell them why they're wrong and tell them that you value Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri as our front office. Because I do, and I know that the alternatives of trying to get new people, just like we had to do with our coach, is risky and shaky and tough. And once we have known quantities like Nick was on our team where they do well, we want to keep them around. So let's stop tearing things down. The non-fans, the casuals, the idiots, the fans that are actually fans of other teams are trying to rip us down even further. You want to allow that? You want to be a part of that problem? Go ahead and add to that noise. If you don't want to be a part of that problem, fight against it, because there's a lot of negative talk about the Raptors. It's unnecessary, and it can actually be harmful to our team. And I'm sick of this shit. So that's why I made this channel specifically, is to fight against this. If you're a real one, you want the Raptors to win more Larry O'Brien's, please hear me and understand there are forces out there trying to fucking pull our team down to the ground and burn it to the ground. And we need to be vigilant and smart about where we put our attention on Raptors content creators, about what rumors we're purporting and retelling to people. We got to be vigilant about how we look at analyze our people without being tainted by people that really want us to hate them, to get rid of them, like what happened with Fred this year. So know the playbook. And if you start hearing people start switching from Fred to Pascal or Scottie, understand exactly what's going on. Seriously, understand what is going on exactly. Yeah. MSJ saying the team is still rather in place with the Dennis signing. Sure, the NBA hates us. That will never change. Dennis, Barnes, OG, Pascal, Yak, and a few shooters, and Gary, Dick, and Otto. Workable team. Yeah, I think we'll have an improved shooting no matter what, just because we have better shooters available in Otto and Grady. So, there's a lot of things that are going to be different about our team next year, and hopefully we'll have some really good boons of success in areas we had bad stuff recently. And that may be enough to make us feel like things are way better. I think MSJ's right. Our team's in a good place still. It's just that it looks really bad. Like, it's the same thing as like when we won the championship and Kawhi left. Everybody said, "Oh, the Raptors aren't going to be good anymore because Kawhi's gone." Well, optically, people will see Nick Nurse and Fred are gone this summer. They're going to downgrade the Raptors so far with their predictions for next season, just off of looking at losses from the offseason. They see those two names and like, holy shit, well, what are the fucking Raptors at this point? They won't investigate that we got Darko and how that fit's going. They won't investigate our plan to replace Fred. They'll just assume, okay, these guys are gone, just like Kawhi left before. This team's going to suck. Well, did we suck after Kawhi left? No, we were a top team in the East still. So that's going to be part of what happens in the early preseason. We're going to hear a lot of predictions that are going to be really fucked up about the Raptors. Watch. Really, really screwy, crazy ones. Let's see. Where am I now? As above, so below, saying Schroder in, Fred VanVleet out. Head shake. Schroder is going to be nail biting, not over the moon on this move. He's fun. He's fun. I like the dog in him. I like that he's annoying. I like that he's a villain. I like that he pesters people. I like that he has a reputation. I like that he's in that Patrick Beverley school of kind of player with a reputation. But in some ways, he doesn't have such a crazy reputation as Pat Beverley does. So he's on the scale of Pat Beverley without being so overboard Pat Beverley. I like this kind of stuff. I like those kind of players. Pat Beverley and Dennis Schroder are both the kind of players that I like. I like those kind of players like Dillon Brooks that have an edge and they're just really annoying. They're the kind of player that you love having on your team, but you hate playing against. And I think it's evidence as, once again, go look at Laker Nation today. They're happy. They've got a lot of wins from yesterday in free agency, but they did take an L when they lost Dennis Schroder. And a lot of people are upset about it, and they don't like seeing this. Laker Nation very heavily values Schroder, and that says something about him in some ways. Seriously, that does. It does, because like they would be hating on him. The Laker Nation is so like fickle, and they will turn on their own players. Well, they love Schroder. There's a reason why. There is a reason why. Cool Cat's saying we are now a taller, longer team without Fred. We're a good team still and still developing. OG will be more involved in the offense. Scottie, point guard. All traces of Nick Nurse's fingerprints are gone. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, Fred was a part of the coaching staff. We're going to fire the whole coaching staff of the Raptors. Well, Fred technically was kind of a coach. He did wear the coaching gear at one point, didn't he? So that's part of it, I guess. All right, I'm just making a little joke. Leslie's saying, "Good morning, everyone. We would never pay Fred $43 million a year. Congratulations, Fred. Money. Yeah." Good morning to you, Leslie, a great Raptor freak. David saying, "I'm a huge Schroder fan. He ain't so bad. You'll see. No, he's gonna be fun. He's gonna be a little bit of a fan favorite. I think people will really enjoy his antics too." Listen, Toronto's the kind of city that loves hard workers, blue collar kind of shit, kind of guys that like you can really tell is working hard. Well, that's what Schroder is. In recent years, last year at the Euro Cup, a lot of teams did really well, but Germany did really, really well. Surprisingly, in a field with like Giannis on Greece, Lauri Markkanen on Finland, of course, Luka. And, all these really good teams with powerful players. Well, Germany held its own in the Euro Cup last year. And it really, Schroeder's their number one guy. He was their dude kind of really carrying that team. And this is another thing that people got to realize. The connections between Schroder and Darko are strong already. That they were together in Oklahoma City for a season already. In fact, it's one of the best seasons Dennis has. So Darko knows him. And they already have a working relationship. So Dennis and Darko may be an interesting combo that works really well. It could be that he really relies on him for certain kind of, on the ball defensive kind of stuff that he's good at. It could be also that Darko was around him in competition, coaching teams in Europe, and Dennis very active in basketball in Germany. In fact, Dennis owns a team in German league. He is a player owner in the German professional league over there. He owns a team outright. Like he's the sole owner of a franchise in Germany. Another thing about Dennis that a lot of people don't know is as a kid, his favorite sport was skateboarding. He's actually a extremely good skateboarder. And before he turned to basketball, he was looking like he was going to be a pro skateboarder. So that's not a normal kind of like path for a player. So there's a lot of interesting things about Schroder's personality and who he is that is really interesting with the fit with the Raptors. I think he's excited to be in an international city. Once again, he's German. He's not American. And he comes here. In some ways, he's going to really enjoy being in the international city of Toronto. I know that in his career, he probably really enjoys the stop when he comes here. A lot of the players really love coming to Toronto. Well, to play for Toronto, that's even better. So let's see. Tom Duke saying, I still like our roster, all thanks to the new coaching influx. I like Dennis too, but not everything Fred was. Yeah. Well, we'll see. He's definitely not going to get used as much as him. Cool Cat saying, welcome to Dennis, back with your former coach. He will be great off the bench. We'll have to see. Dennis might have to start. He's a good veteran presence. He has a lot of NBA time. He's been a double-digit scorer in the NBA for most of his career. He has been a starter. He was a starter for the Lakers last year. It's not like he's not a starter. He can start for us if Darko decides to go with a smaller lineup and a more traditional lineup. Dennis may be the smartest person to start at point guard. It may not be Malachi or Jeff. But that's the thing. That competition will be there to see what happens. And if one of those other guys is better to start than Dennis, then Dennis will come off the bench. And that won't be a problem either. We'll have a sound point guard off the bench. So either way, it's a win-win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Schroder ends up starting somehow, some way, or maybe not. Maybe they go with the old classic lineup of the Raptors with Scottie, Gary, OG, Pascal, and Jakob. And Gary's kind of the shooting guard, but kind of guarding the point guard. And Scottie and Pascal are carrying the ball up the court. So I don't know. We're going to have to see. Once again, Darko will give us more clues as we get closer to the season with training camp, summer league, preseason. Then we'll see, and we'll have more of an idea of realistically what to expect with his rotations, the starting lineup, and the minutes distribution. So we'll have to see. Fiercely saying, Bobby Webster has a tough job, and I do salute his quick decision-making. Dennis Schroder is a pest, but I'd take him over Gabe Vincent. Yeah, I would too. Seriously, I would. Because in some ways, Dennis has way more experience than Gabe. Gabe, in some ways, I don't trust. Because in Miami, they really cater to these undrafted guys to really elevate them. And in some ways, it's their system that he works really well in. It may not be translating to the Lakers in the money they're paying him. So I don't think that Gabe Vincent is as established as Dennis as a known commodity about what he will produce in any given situation. Schroder has been traded every which way all around this league, and he has shown that he can fit in with teams and contribute everywhere he's gone. So in some ways, that's another reason why I trust him more over Gabe Vincent. And partly is because Gabe's a younger player, and he doesn't have as much experience as Dennis. Let's keep going. And yes, praise and love to Bobby Webster, a man who's doing a tough job, and people don't understand what all it takes. He just had one of the busiest 24 hours of his life, I'll bet. And he may need to rest a little bit, but he may not be able to, because you got to get on the phone and get Dalano back in a Raptors jersey right now, make some deals with Ron Harper Jr., Jeff Doughton Jr., Joe Weezy, these guys. He's got to get them all tied up too. So we'll have to see what Bobby has in store more. We love you, Bobby. Keep doing your job. The Raptor Freak channel fully supports the front office of the Toronto Raptors, and any naysayers, negative ninnies, and people coming after them right now, fuck off. Our Raptors need to stop being fucked with, and we stop destroying. We need to create right now. Create good things. This is what Bobby and Masai want, and y'all are being destructive and toxic in Raptors Nation with your talk and wanting to get rid of people. These guys are doing a great job. The situations that have been put in front of them lately, they've been doing the best they can. Trust me, we couldn't have done anything to avoid Fred leaving yesterday. There's nothing we could have done. We couldn't have done anything at the trade deadline. That's like what Doug Smith's saying online on Twitter yesterday. He's saying, can y'all tell me what offers in the trade deadline that we could have done to avoid this mess? Do you know the offer specifically? Do you know what was offered to the Raptors front office as far as to how to avoid Fred leaving like this? No, you don't, because maybe there wasn't a deal and y'all are just making shit up out of your head. So don't say this was a fail when somebody like Doug Smith from the Toronto Star is saying that there were no offers. And we know this in the press about them. So why would you come at the front office for something they couldn't have done? There was no opportunity to do something about this. And once again, the CBA, they didn't know what was in those papers until 2 days ago. And that was a factor in the timing of all this and how quickly this had to go. Houston could have sat on having a whole bunch of salary cap if that provision had not been in there. They could have continued to try and save money and wouldn't have had the impetus to try and sign somebody for big, big, huge money like Fred yesterday. They could have just kept saving money. It seems like that's all they've been wanting to do the last couple of years is make a lot of money by not paying anybody in salary. Well, they had to pay people salary real quick, and Fred was that guy who plugged that hole. Let's see. Mike's saying Dante DiVincenzo is still undecided. He has 4 unknown teams he has meetings with. I think we're in that, and Dante and Dennis would be good playing wise. With Scottie mentor thing, we need a good point guard coach in. I'm not interested in Dante DiVincenzo. Already heard that he's already a Knick. So he wants to reunite with Brunson and Hart as that Villanova crew, and he's going to be a Knick. It's already pretty much done, Mike, from what I'm hearing. So I have no interest in Dante. I've seen that he left Golden State, and I fully expect him to be a Knick very, very soon. So when that happens, you'll see that I was right. He wants to get that trio back. He wants to be with his college buddies, and that's what I'm hearing. I'm not, like I said, I'm not interested in him. There's other guys we can get could be very interesting. We'll have to see. And I do agree. We need more of a point guard mentor than Dennis. Dennis isn't the right guy to mentor Scottie, but who knows? Darko could be just that guy, or maybe Mike the Bulldozer Batiste. I don't know. We'll have to see. David's saying, hey, the good news is that this says something about our development program. Wow. Yeah, for sure. Wayne's saying, good point, Lex. Darko would work with Dennis before. That's huge familiarity for our new point guard and the coach. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Darko was in the war room after Fred made his decision, and Bobby and Masai and him were looking at a list, and it was like, well, these are the guys that are available at point guard right now, Darko. Well, I know Dennis. I had him in Oklahoma City. I love that guy. We worked well together. Okay, let's get Dennis then. Boom, boom, get Dennis Schroder. Boom, just like that. It could very well be that Darko had input on which one of those guys they picked. I think they picked the right one. And if they really, seriously, we'll have to see the chemistry between them. The Nick Nurse, Fred VanVleet chemistry was important to our team the last couple of years. Well, in some ways, we need that point guard coach connection. And if there's already some ties between Darko and Dennis, that's not going to hurt. So let's see. Name was saying the writing on the wall for Fred may have been the signing of Markquis Nowell. Well, in some ways, that's true. We could look at it 2 ways. It's like you got an understudy who's just like you that you can identify with Fred and he can identify with you. Or, yes, Fred, we've got your replacement. We just drafted him, and we're going to see the next guy rise through the ranks, and we'll make an undrafted guy into something just like you in the years to come in Markquis Nowell. Yeah, that could be true. Like I said, I wrote Markquis a message on Instagram yesterday saying, now your path is open. You go take what you want. It's yours to take. And he's all about that. He's in full mode of aggression and want to get stuff. Van Hoot saying the Bulls are struggling because they have Lonzo Ball at almost at 20 million albatross. Yeah, that's a big difference between the Bulls and us right there is they have a useless player that's taking up a huge part of their cap. We wanted to keep him, but he leveraged for more money in years. Precious and Chris and Thad, not enough minutes, trade incoming. I don't know. I'm not predicting any more movement right now. If it happens, I'll react to it afterwards. I really don't want them to move any of those guys you just said. If they move Thad, it's okay, but definitely not Chris and Precious. I really value those guys as being valuable people in our rotation. Thaddeus, I can deal with trading him, but those other 2 guys, hands off. Hands off. That's what I'm saying, at least. Cool Cat saying we love players that want to be here. Dennis Schroder is happy to come to Canada. Yeah, he's excited. He understands what he's getting into now, and he's going to be an interesting guy. He's very international. He's got an accent. He's kind of a different kind of dude. Very, very different kind of guy. Kind of quirky, and I think he might fit in with some of the quirkiness of I think him and OG are actually going to be best friends. I think it's going to be the opposite. Everybody thinks they may be contentious because of that little dust up, but that kind of stuff actually bonds people. And they may have a laugh about it and they'll be like, you're really a lot like me. We're both European guys born in Europe. and playing the NBA, we have more in common than we actually have differences. And, I kind of like you a lot. You're kind of a weird guy, and I'm kind of weird too. It could very much evolve that way pretty quickly. Duke's saying, good to see you, Jay. I'm happy for Fred. He got offered a contract he couldn't refuse. That really is like that. It's like The Godfather. Therefore, there should be no hard feelings from Rap Nation. Could be a blessing if the Raps pursue Vision 6-9. Very much picking up the pieces and looking at the bright side of things, Duke. I completely agree with your takes. Absolutely. I'm not going to diss Fred or put him down like Nick, for sure. I'm not. It's a totally different kind of situation. And I honor Fred, and he is a GOAT to me. He's one of the greatest Raptors of all time. Now, his place will not go any higher unless he returns and does something crazy on the list. At this point, I'm going to put Siakam above him. So we got Kyle, DeMar, Siakam, and Fred fourth at this point in my greatest Raptors of all time list. He won't go any higher at this point. Siakam's above him for sure. Let's see. As above, so below, saying Schroder is good, but not going to be a piece to get us to Larry. Why not? He's been kind of around teams. Like, he was close to getting a championship with the Lakers. I don't know. I don't agree with this. Let's see. So it will be a season to just make the playoffs. Sorry, but I like him, just not going to get it done. We don't know. We don't know necessarily. We got to just see it, test it. Darko on the with his players on the court. We'll see what the results come out. If we win more than we lose, there's all kinds of things we got to see first before we can make these assessments. Free agency, the way teams move around. Like I said, I don't think Boston's going to be better next year with Porzingis. There's going to be a different landscape in the league, as always. It all shuffle up and deal. Obviously, Philly's going to be weird. Philly's already, they're talking about trading Maxey for Lillard right now. That could be a very different Philadelphia team next year. And, they lost Niang already. There's a lot of different weird stuff going on. They lost Shake Milton, too. So there's a lot of change going on. And we've got to totally reassess every single team going into the preseason and training camp and then the regular season, because they're not going to be the same personalities and the same kind of mix for hardly any of the teams in the league. They're all going to be shook up pretty good this year. Watch. And big moves can still happen with the kind of stuff that's happening with Lillard and James Harden and those things and stuff. So let's see. I don't think we'll win a championship next year, but we should compete, and I hope to win and make the playoffs for sure. Fiercely saying, Lex, I said Gary Trent Jr. probably opted in knowing Nick was gone, but I think Fred leaving also was a factor. I read he was now working towards a multi-year extension, more opportunities for him now. Well, I bet they jumped on that right after because, in some ways we have money we got to try and make up for with Fred leaving. That left a void in our salary cap. And in some ways we're hamstrung by how we can fill that money. We can't just add players like crazy to fill that money. So in some ways we got to be creative in how we use that money. And that means maybe more money for Gary. There's no way that they preemptively thought this was going to happen. I think that it's true that the Raptors had him tied up and he was going to stay with us. And that the third year put it over the top with Houston, that it was right up until last night that we didn't know. So we can't make this prediction that anything that happened with Gary had anything to do with what happened with Fred, other than they started talking about the extension right away after Fred made his move. And that's how that opened up. But otherwise, I'm not going to say that was premeditated in the way you're saying, Fiercely, because I don't believe that's true. I think that they actually really did believe Fred was going to come back for the 4 years on $120 million. And that, if they had just stayed with the 2 years for 83, he would have taken our deal. But it's when they added the third year that it was just too sweet a deal. And he had to go with Houston at that point. There's no way they premeditated this with Gary. Gary's just on his own path. And now, in some ways, it worked out for him. He probably can get more money in some ways. Let's see. Cool Cat saying Bobby didn't overpay. We now have money for OG, Pascal, Scottie, and new contracts. Thank you, NBA champion Fred VanVleet. Have fun in Houston. Now we're moving on to focus on our next chip, Yak and skills. Yeah. I like this. In some ways, people get mad at GMs for not making moves. Well, I get happy when they don't make moves because more moves can mean more failure and stupid shit. And I like that Bobby kind of doesn't make a lot of moves. He's not moving sake for moving. That's something that other teams want. They just want a deal to just shake things up and have something changed all of a sudden really quick. And when they may not even need to do that, they may need to just stay on the course and they're going to get to the good stuff down the road. And we understand that as a front office here, that sometimes you have it right, but you don't have it developed or to the point where it's exactly clicking, but it will. But you make a move ahead of time, like Jimmy Butler out of here from Philly, and then boom, you fuck everything up. So in some ways, I like the fact that, not only the moves that he makes are pretty good most of the time, but the moves he doesn't make are really important also. And we don't talk enough about that. That like he could be making really seriously poor moves if he's just like making moves for the sake of making moves, but he's not doing that. He's very calculated and very smart and very deliberate. Everything we do is very, very smart and thought out. And that is Bobby Webster. That is Masai Ujiri. I love that. And yeah, we're not overpaying Fred. We're not on the contract like they are down there. Oh my gosh. Click's here. Good to see Click. Fred got overpaid like crazy. Happy for him, but I'm also happy for our team. Raptors are now focused to choose the retool direction instead of watching the same shit from last season. Trade Pascal now. See, I'm not into that. See, this is what I'm saying. What the fuck, Click? You want us to trade all our rings away? No, fuck that, man. You sound like that noise I'm fucking mad at now. What's good enough for you motherfuckers? You want blood? You just want more and more blood? You got Nick Nurse's blood on your hands? You got Fred's blood on your hands? You want fucking Pascal's now? No, this drawing the line right here. We're not moving any more people. We got our crew. We're ready to go in there. We're not rebuilding. We are going forward with this team, even without Fred. And we're going to try and win. So fucking stop this shit. When is enough enough? Fred's gone now. Now you want to fucking go after Pascal? You don't want any rings on our team? What the fuck? Seriously, you're going to piss me off. Seriously, I do not agree with this line of thinking. Seriously, y'all stop putting names out there. This person's got to go next. This person's got to go next. Masai. Scottie's got to go next. Fuck y'all with your fucking destructive mindsets. Fuck this shit. Click, I love you, but fuck you for saying that. Seriously. Duke's saying, the only thing that puzzles me is why did we let Toronto native walk? Banton fits 6'9". I know he's raw, but I saw potential of both sides of the floor. And it was possible Fred walks. They had to do it just in case. It's very much just like why Serge and Mark were gone from the Raptors. They had to make the room open for Giannis just in case to land him. Well, it didn't happen. Well, they needed to make the room open so that they could get Fred landed yesterday just in case, and it didn't happen. So it doesn't look like the right move at this point, but they can circle back and still sign him at this point. And especially now that they have a little bit more money, they can probably do it, but maybe not. I don't know exactly. Blake Murphy's got the salary cap up on his Twitter as it's changed from last night with Fred off of it and all the new stuff. And we do have some wiggle room with our salary cap at this point. So there are other new players that we can go ahead and go get. So we'll have to see how they deal with this. And maybe Dalano is just one of the reacquisitions, even though he's an unrestricted free agent at this point, that we still are able to get back. So it's not totally settled with Dalano. We may hear about it today, actually. Let's see. Infamous is saying, salute the freaks. VanVleet, undrafted, G League champion, NBA champion, all-star. This man worked for everything. He got no shortcuts. Wishing the best, slander-free zone. I'm with you on that. I like that. KSM's here. Good to see KSM. Every morning we're talking Raptors, 9:30 in the morning, live on YouTube. I read every single comment. Good to see you. Fred left on his terms. Good for him. But how are you happy about our current state? Masai and Bobby fumbled an asset. If the roster adds nothing else, you content with what we got? Yeah. Because I'm educated on this. We've got really good players. Scottie Barnes is going to make a leap. Precious could make a leap. Koloko could make a leap. OG could have more of a defined role, and he could be very solid and stepping into the shoes of Fred moving now. I'm happy about our current state for sure. Damn sure. We got a new coach who's exciting with new, fresh ideas that nobody knows really well. So we could be very interesting. I feel like we felt in 2018 right now. And what did we do? We turned around, won the championship the next year. So there's all kinds of unknowns. It's the same shit. We fired our coach of the year, Dwayne Casey, and we hired Nick Nurse. Well, could this turnover of our coach this summer be a similar kind of thing where we got rid of a coach that was not working for us anymore and we bring in a new hotshot and he's a new, fresh flavor of the best coach in the league? We don't know. Darko's set up to be like this, and he could be this kind of guy. First of all, I don't come from a pessimistic mind state in my own personal life. Some people are just fucking pessimist, miserable fucks in Raptors Nation, and they look at the glass as half empty instead of half full. Well, I'm an optimist. And I always look for the best and excel and look for the best in the opportunities instead of feeling all wallowy and like, oh, we're mid, we're horrible. Fuck that. I see potential. And this is the way winners think instead of losers. Losers think of, we suck, all this stuff. That's loser talk. That pessimistic, idiotic talk. You want to have loser stuff? You go ahead and have a loser mindset. You get losing. I have a winning mindset, just like Masai and Bobby do, just like Darko does, just like Scottie does. So that's the difference right there. Is we have a winning mindset. Jakob said he don't want to play for a team that's not going to contend. Well, why the fuck did he re-sign with us yesterday? Something don't add up with that. Why would he say like 2 weeks ago, I don't want to be on a team that's rebuilding, that's not trying to win? Then he re-sign with us. Well, do you think the expertise of Jakob Poeltl, who plays in the NBA and assesses teams, he's been on a shitty team in San Antonio, he's been on a good team in Toronto, can assess whether a team's good or not? You think that Jakob's stupid and he would just re-sign with the Raptors if he thinks that our team is not good enough? No, he thinks we're good enough, and that's why he re-signed with us. So, Raptors fans need to get with it. Masai understands this. Bobby understands this. The whole team understands. Pascal understands it. He wants to be a Raptor forever. OG doesn't want to go anywhere. Scottie don't want to go anywhere. Gary doesn't want to go anywhere. Fred didn't want to go anywhere, but he got a big bag, so he went somewhere. That's what I'm not getting. Why can't y'all see what they see and I see? That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering right there. You think we're going to be fucking mid? Why would Gary opt in and stay with us? Why would Jakob say what he said 2 weeks ago and still sign with us yesterday? Yeah, think about that logic right there. And then reassess how you feel about this team. Seriously, if you want to aim for the ditch, you'll go in the ditch. But I'm aiming for the middle of the road and heading right on down in the sunset to good things. So that's the difference right there. So excuse me for being happy about our current state and optimistic, because we play in the NBA and the chances to win games are down the road. And I have full confidence in Coach Rajakovic to come in here and get these guys into a better place than Nick Nurse had them with his bullshit last year. So, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Mike's saying Fred wouldn't have gotten that max contract for 3 years if he was broke down, greedy, and a bad leader. That player, a.k.a. Kyrie, doesn't get maxes even though they are way more talented. Mentors matter, in my opinion. Yeah, Mike, that's kind of your perception on this and stuff like that. I get it. But, I won't disagree with anything you're saying there. Van Hoot saying at Logical Raptors Fanatic, he has the best agent. You don't get what you deserve, though, only what you have the leverage to negotiate. Now, fuck that agency. Don't fucking give flowers to them. Can you, man? You're annoying me today, man. Fuck that shit. You didn't give fucking flowers to Klutch with their bullshit fucking up our team this year. Fuck that, Kenyon. Seriously, I know you're not the kind of Raptors fan that I am. But fuck Klutch. You're going to give them flowers? Fuck them. Fuck Rich Paul. Fuck LeBron James. Fuck their bullshit. Their fucking stupid ass fucking arrangement, collusion. Fuck all that shit. Infamous is saying it would have been foolish not to take the deal. I would have smacked him if he didn't. Yes. And that's why we can't fault Fred. It is what it is. But listen, Kenyon, you think it's just because of Klutch he got that money? No, it's because of Houston's specific special situation in that moment. Yeah, they can act like, ooh, we did this. Well, maybe you did get one over on Portland with Jeremy Grant. But this whole thing with Houston, you just picked easy to pick fruit and to get this situation with Fred. You guys go ahead and act like you, woo, all this kind of shit. That bullshit, whatever. He's so full of it. He was telling the press yesterday to mark his name down as like some sort of, make my full name, say Klutch CEO and like blah, blah, blah. He had a whole title that he was demanding the press use yesterday in their press clippings about him. So Rich Paul, fuck that motherfucker. I know you're a stand for him, Kenyon. And I'm not about that. Fuck Klutch. Klutch can go suck a dick. Fuck them. Seriously. All right. G's saying apparently MA really pushed the Fred deal. Vets are a hot commodity. League is having issues with discipline among the youth. Yeah, this is evidence with the Grizzlies. Look at how they're taking care of babysitting John Morant. Go get Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose. These guys will get across to him, hopefully, and salvage Ja's career. This is the thing. Fred has been hired to be a kindergarten cop. He's to go down there and be the old head for these youngsters that are knuckleheads. And in some ways to be the extension of Udoka on the court. It'll be interesting to see. I'm telling you, I made the prediction yesterday. If Fred goes to Houston, he's going to gray his hair just like Obama did during 8 years of presidency. He's going to have gray hair by the time he's done with those kids down in Houston. They're going to make his hair gray. Trust me. If those kids in the court don't, his kids at home will add to it too. Trust me. Fred Jr. is a handful. Oh my gosh. He is a handful down there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I don't like this mix. I don't know if Udoka and Fred, how they're going to work together. And then once again, Fred with those other guys on that team, those kids are knuckleheads. Did you see the clip of Jalen Green and Josh Christopher from yesterday that came out that everybody's talking about right now? Oh my gosh. I don't even want to talk about it. You can go find it yourself. You want to find the new clip of the fun that Jalen Green and Josh Christopher are having together. I don't have any problem with that. If these guys like to have sex with each other, go ahead and have sex with each other. That's not a big deal. It's not that I'm a homophobe. It's just that they're weird. These kids are weird. If they're goofing around like this or whatever, and that's what they're trying to do or whatever, Houston fans are kind of having a problem with it themselves. It's really crazy. It's really weird. All right, let's see. David's saying, Paul B in the house. How much for those jerseys? I don't know what Paul's going to do with his Fred VanVleet jerseys. I know Adriana's keeping hers. Wayne's saying, great points again, Lex. Raptors helped make Fred a maximum player, and we know Fred appreciates his good fortune for being chosen by Raptors and developed accordingly. Yeah, he's going to be like Kyle. He's a favorite son. He'll be a native son. There's no problem with him coming back here. I don't want any fans to boo him when he comes back. There's no reason to. There really, really isn't. So, yeah, it's a totally different kind of thing. I can get this kind of place with people that leave our team. I'm not just hating everyone who leaves the Raptors. It's really how you leave and what happens and the whole thing of it that makes me decide whether I'm mad at you or not, like Nick. You know, Fred is different. Fred did it right, so I'm not mad at him. I wasn't mad at Norman when he left and he got traded for Gary. I wasn't mad at Kyle for getting traded in the Miami trade either. So you can do it right. There's a way to leave the team in the right way, in the honorable way. And there's dishonorable ways to leave also. Nick, Vince, those are two dishonorable ways. Chris Bosh, that's another one. Let's keep going. G saying Halliburton got 52 million. These are the new norms. The salaries look crazy every few years. Yeah. I love what Halliburton did when he got his bag. He posted on Twitter a clip of the $1 Million Man just laughing, holding money. It was so good. That was like one of the best reactions to getting a big bag ever. Tyrese Halliburton last night. So good. So funny. You know, I like the guy just for posting the $1 Million Man in that way last night. It's hilarious. Jason Tatum very much celebrating everybody getting money like crazy and then deleting the tweet very quickly. You know, it's very interesting. Let's do the Raptors Instagram check real quick because it's very quiet last night. Not a whole lot of chatter from anybody around the Raptors organization, any of the players or anybody last night. Very staying quiet because they don't want to have anything misinterpreted with the events of free agency yesterday. Ron Harper, though, putting on blast Dalano Banton after he's like gone from us, showing that, you know, obviously he has love for him from playing with him last year. He's saying that this 6'7" point guard is amazing. He's putting Dalano on blast because he knows he's in the market now and he wants to help him get some sort of deal going somewhere, somehow. Freddie, as I said, he reposted his tweet from 2016, Bet on Yourself. And he said once again last night, in some ways it infuriates me, but in some ways I get it. He says, God is the greatest. It is what it is, Fred. I wish you luck with your family, your kids, your own personal life, but fuck you on the Rockets and the way you're going to play for them. I don't want any success in that. Koloko's saying he's got a funny clip, and this guy's saying biggest lies in music part 12. I don't know. At least Koloko's keeping it light and having fun on free agency day. That's good. Let's see. Grady is saying he's got the cat. All right, this is very interesting. He's got his cat, Milky, in a Raptors jersey. And the song is kind of like, what is the song again? He has a song that's going, I gotta get money to take care of my kids. So in a way, it may be like Grady's kind of trolling Fred a little bit with his Melky in the jersey post last night because the song is called Boy. And we know that they called Fred the boy. And on the lyric that he posted, it's saying that I got to get money to take care of my kids. So it seems like Grady is making a little nod to Fred's move last night. And maybe he's a little disappointed because he did want to play with him. And now he's seen that he's not going to get to. So that's very interesting in there. Let's see. He's also got a post about Sunrise Christian Academy thanking Coach Luke. And it says, I can't explain how much you mean to me, my fam, and so many other people. Forever grateful for allowing me to be at Sunrise. Congratulations, Coach Luke. So Grady putting on blast one of his old coaches from high school. Thad Young posting young prospects and not really nodding anything about the decision with him last night. It could very well be he's still in flux. We may have him on the books, but that may be to trade to get something else. 905 saying that Coloco's the next elite shot blocker in the league, and they're also putting Dalano Banton on blast. Mr. New York City, Markquis Nowell has a really, really cool post of him in a Raptors jersey. He is wearing number 1 in it, but we know he's 24 actually. Really cool to see Markquis in that jersey. I'm so happy about it. And it looks like he's at a Chanel store 14 minutes ago. Just 14 minutes ago, he's in a Chanel store. Very interesting. Siakam is getting thank yous from the law students that took the money from the PS43 Foundation. He had a scholarship for this for law students, and they're thanking him for his contributions to helping kids go to law school. That's amazing. That's really good stuff. We see in the States affirmative action taken away from enrollments at universities. Meanwhile, we up here are much more progressive, and we're letting people have access and all kinds of ways to get this stuff. And that's what Siakam's foundation is about. And thank you, Siakam, for what you do. Gary Trent Jr. is showing off dunks on the court in Miami, and he's doing like windmills like crazy right now. Maybe he's working something out, like he's got some angst in him or something to prove. But Gary is throwing it down. He's saying, I'm tired. 5 a.m. legs. I respect your grind. This guy is out there at 5 a.m. throwing windmills down in Miami. I love it here. You go grind. Chris Boucher, once again, with more pictures from the Basketball Without Borders event with Lou Dort and the other guys in Montreal. That's basically our Instagram check for today. No reaction to Fred's decision or anything that's happened yesterday. No, nothing. All right, let's keep going. Duke is saying, is there a conspiracy theory surrounding Klutch? Fred Nurse heard something about OG firing Klutch. When Nurse signed with Klutch, I saw the writing on the wall, more exposure in the U.S. Well, this is the interesting thing about the Klutch factor with those two guys. They kind of just got hired by Klutch. Like they hired Klutch just in the last couple of years. Nick is a newer Klutch client, and so is Fred. So in some ways, it's kind of the client utilizing that entity to get what they want. So it may not be, we said that Gary wanted to opt in and stay with us. Well, that's what Klutch helped him do. If OG didn't want this, well, the Klutch didn't want what he wanted. He says, I'm seeing later. Bye. I'm not with y'all anymore. So there's a lot of different, ways of looking at this. I think it's Nick, just an extension of what Nick wanted Klutch executed for him. And then the same thing with Fred. Now, Fred is a specific situation where Houston money was just there. He had to take it. Nick's situation is way different. And I say there's some weird shit with Klutch involved in that, is what I'm saying, though. So we'll have to see. I will talk about this more tomorrow, Duke. So tune in. Sunday report on the dismantling of the 2019 Toronto Raptors championship team from that year. Geo Mads here. Good. Happy Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to you. Nice to see people saying Happy Canada Day on this great Canada Day today. Mike saying MA called our fans mid and wanted Fred. People see how stupid this disconnect was between Fred and Raps fans. People need to stop with outrageous rage and thinking players are bad because someone told you so. Yeah, I hate this, Mike. It's just the new world. And in some ways, we just got to get used to it and kind of navigate through it. Players need to not listen to it for sure. In some ways, us fans need not to listen to it too. There's nothing we can do about this, especially with people like Elon Musk and Zuckerberg running the social media. Well, there's no controls on this kind of stuff, lies and just bullshit. And it's not going to get any better, Mike. It's going to get worse and worse. Project Truth is important work, and we have to continue it. We have to continue it into the next year. And we're not going to be defending Fred anymore, obviously. We're going to have to defend other people and be vigilant and ready, Mike. I wish we could eradicate this. I wish this hadn't developed like this over the recent years, that social media is such a toxic cesspool of idiots that I wish it could go back, but we can't. It is the way it is, and we got to go forward in the new environment and just try and make the best of it. It could very well be, like I said, The Raptors may need to hire us, Mike, you and me, just to be kind of part of their public relations department of fighting online bullshit with perception about the Raptors. They may very well need to put us on the payroll just to come in and they can give us directives on how they want us to do what we do so that we can very much help them the most we can. They put us on official channels, we get more reach, and then we can really, really help them in this information war going on around the NBA about perception and reality and all this kind of stuff. It may be that they need to have something just like a country would have for intelligence and fighting and diplomacy and world foreign affairs. Well, the Raptors franchise may need that kind of shit at this point to battle the information war and intelligence war on social media. So I'm telling you, if you're listening to me, MLSE, and you want a few good men, a few good women, a few good people just to come down and fight the good fight of your good honor, come and get us. We will come and help you. We're already doing it. And you may need this. You seriously may need this the way that the NBA is evolving with social media. Infamous is saying it's disgusting when I heard that he who should not be named started a 5-year campaign to slander this man. What a piece of shit. He did. He started this shit a long time ago. He started it with this story that he went up to him at a G League game and he wouldn't sign the autographs for these kids. And he tried to paint him as a selfish jerk who wouldn't sign for kids. And he just went on and on with this. And I was like, look, are you a Raptors fan? Is this helpful to our nation? You're just turning people against him and he's on our team. It's not helpful. That's what I'm saying. If your words and your content around the Raptors are not helpful to the Raptors winning, I hate your content. That's why online yesterday, everybody was coming out with opinions of them being mid or saying all this slander in the Raptors. I fought against them. I don't like how people are wishy-washy about their content with the Raptors, and they can very much hurt them with stupid ass shit. Like Doug Smith makes a casual, funny, he thinks it's funny joke, but it's not good for the team, seriously, because it shapes perception. And that's we just can't have that at this point. The US is already sewering the perception, the reputation of the Raptors. Why do we need our own Canadian media doing it also? It's really not a good look. Let's see. Trevor's saying Raptors fans going to see how good, really good Dennis is. They're going to be shocked. I hope so. I hope you're right. I like that. MSJ is the man, bro. Get it right. He's good. Yeah, MSJ's been on fire today. Really good quotes of stats and different takes. Really, really good stuff today, MSJ, for sure. Kenny saying happy Canada Day. Good morning to Kenny and happy Canada Day to an original Raptors freak. From the very beginning of my journey on this channel, Kenny was there, and I appreciate you. Tom's got the Maple Leafs out. Love to see that. Wayne saying good luck with the league trying to figure us out game to game. Looks like point guard by committee and competition pros and cons. Stability of the point guard position may be rocky temporarily, but very short-lived. We'll have to see what the answers become. Who makes it happen? I could very well be Doughton. I wouldn't be surprised. What if we had like a weird point guard rotation where like the three guys, a point guard rotation, we let them go all out because they're not out there for very long. And it's Dennis, Jeff, and Malachi kind of splitting the point guard duties, and it may be a matchup based. It may also be who's available as far as health. It could, in some ways we have some depth at point guard that people aren't really respecting. Jeffrey Doughton Jr. is a consistent point guard in this league that we can depend on. He truly is. I really do trust Jeff, and I believe in him. I really do. But we'll see. It's going to be not very stable at the beginning, trying out things and figuring things out and establishing the system with the players, with the new coach. There's always going to be an initiation orientation period that won't look totally good, but once they get things going, it should be all right. Shirkan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. This is the best outcome in this season's silly guard market. I'm glad Fred was the one to get the bag. Says a lot that Kyrie Harden was too much drama and Steady Freddie was the last one standing. There you go, Shir Khan. Always bringing the positivity. I love Shir Khan's attitude, and that is why he's the Raptor Freak Rookie of the Year. It's put it in a good light in all kinds of ways, and I think you're exactly right on here. This is an outcome that may not be exactly what we wanted, but it is kind of maybe what we needed. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't want Fred to leave, but this may be what we needed. And I will admit that. As above, so below, Warline saying Fred averaged 7.5 assists a game last year. Dennis Schroder, 4.5 assists last year. Austin Reeves stole the guy's job. Well, we're going to have to see who's going to be our assist guy. It could very well be Scottie a lot. It's not that we have a hard time finding assists. It's not like Fred was like end all be all point guard and playmaker on our team. We have a lot of playmakers on our team. Scottie and Pascal get a good amount of assists at their position, and so does Jakob. On the down low, Jakob's a very, very good assist guy also. So I'm not worried about making up for playmaking or passing or assist makers. In fact, we weren't very good at that already last year. So we have a lot of room to improve on that. And we should this year. I really do think that Darko's new offensive system will be more conducive to the Raptors having a more sound, efficient, fluid, using each other off of each other, not so isolationist kind of offense where assists will be more burgeoning naturally because we're playing off each other more with pick and rolls and screens and cuts and all kinds of different stuff that we really didn't do a whole lot of. We were so isolation with Nick, and Darko is anti-isolation. So there's another thing to look forward to right there. Let's see. Shirkan saying, and people, we did not lose him for nothing. The cap opening up gave us Dennis this year and Gary moving forward. Plus, we can bring back our young guys to develop, and we can now front load Yak as well. Yeah, we just make the best of the situation in the way it turned last night. And these are actually perks. Everybody says, oh, you lose players for nothing. That's bullshit. That's such a fallacy that people believe that. If you have a player that leaves and you don't trade something for them, they think that you lost them for nothing. You just don't understand the NBA. You really, really don't. It's not like that. Seriously. We built him up. We got the value in him while he was playing for us. So we didn't lose anything. We got what we got from him while he was playing for us. So whatever. We got a void now we can fill. And that means opportunity and change and allowing other people who are already here and possibly somebody new coming in. So there's all kinds of opportunities from change. And we've got to focus on that. Let's see. Infamous is saying, salute to Rich Paul. This young black man is getting people paid. Yeah. I mean, I can't hate on that to a degree. I can hate on the relationship and the closeness of LeBron to this company, but I don't specifically just hate Rich Paul because as a person. I don't like the collusion. I don't like the flakiness, and I don't like Klutch right now. That's really what it is. Trevor's saying Houston Fan Nation went crazy last night when they realized that they got Fred. They're crying like somebody shot their dog. They're overjoyed. They feel like they got a savior. They've had a lot of feelings about their team for a while now, and they feel like they got somebody to save them, just like Philly felt with Nick Nurse. Well, we'll see how much they actually come and help y'all guys. Seriously. I don't think Fred can help y'all to the degree that y'all need help in Houston. Shere Khan saying the fun part starts now. Doughton is getting a full contract. Banton coming back is also a possibility. Joe can be guaranteed and Harper as well. Continuity without Fred could be very beneficial for all. Yeah, I think that Fred's concentrated with talent, and in some ways now we got to distribute it to a couple of different roster spots. In some ways, I don't like the diffusion from one player to like a bunch of different players, maybe filling his spot, because that's taking up multiple roster spots where you have one good quality guy. That's why I always say never be the team that trades like to get three guys in a 3-for-1 deal. You want that one guy that comes in the deal because you want to concentrate the talent into one position and player. And in some ways, what's happened from this is a negative is that we've displaced like the concentration of talent in one position in our roster. And that's something that's not attractive to me about the whole situation that I don't like. But the opportunities for other guys is good. There's more money and there's more leeway for Bobby and Masai to do their jobs. Mike's saying we grabbed the 20 mil early, Pirtle, knowing we could lose Fred or Gary. So things are even at the moment regarding the extensions. The core stays now, including Gary Trent Jr. Most likely. We're in an interesting place. Yeah, we're definitely in an interesting place. I'm very happy with the place we're in. Like I said, I think that we've got a lot of potential. We'll see how it goes. We'll react to it as it comes. G saying, is Dennis starting? How will the spacing be with the starting lineup? I don't know if he'll be starting. We'll have to see what Darko values. If he wants to go positionless, maybe he doesn't. If he does want somebody solid that he's already worked with, just so he has an easier basis to integrate his system, he will do it then, probably. Smooth saying, good morning, all. Dennis is a good replacement. Think TJ Ford, perhaps sign Corey Joseph as another vet, a good move if it happens. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if Corey Joseph showed up also. That would give us even more stability at that position with leadership and capable people that could possibly step in. So I'm not against him coming. If we made a trade, like if we trade Thad Young for DeLon Wright, I would be all about that. That would be a fantastic move, honestly. So we'll have to see. Hang on, I jumped ahead, so I'm going to get back to where I was. Somebody give me a cutoff at. I guess you should probably do it now if you guys haven't. Where was I? Wow, there's so much here. There's so much here, and I will get it to all. Trust me, I will. All right, I was on smooth. I think that's where I was. Where is it? Where's the one I was on? Oh man! All right, I really got to catch up. I'm gonna be here all day. Definitely do not comment anymore, guys. We're gonna just have to figure this out and get through it. I should have figured this was gonna happen today. All right, hang on. There's Randolph. Okay, there we go. Good to see Randolph's here. Okay, there we go. There I am with smooth. Yeah, I like Corey Joseph. Infamous saying the front office did an excellent job. Anyone who says otherwise is a casual. I agree with that fully, and that's why we're sharing the love for Bobby today. Nameless is saying Thad will be traded. Come on now, people. I hope so. I really do hope that's true because we could get a good asset for him with that. Somebody may want to waive him and just get that money free, and we could actually get a usable player for around $8 million a year that we want on our team. It's not that we don't want Thad necessarily, but we could improve that for sure. Duke's saying Rich Paul is going to try and inflate the value of Gary's extension with Fred gone. Masai ain't going to fall for it. We'll have to see. Gary's got to perform to a certain level in some ways. If they do the extension today, I'll be kind of surprised. But there was a lot of noise that they were going to try and do it last night, which was really weird to me. Nameless saying 1,000% famous. Infamous. Both our players and management are constantly overpaid in other organizations. Now, that's a funny coincidence, isn't it? Yeah, that phenomenon is very strange. We're so bad. We're so mid. Bobby's so bad. Masai's so bad. Toxic gaslighting by so many different forces towards the Raptors and who we are. Toxic gaslighting is what it is. Mike's saying the Raptors are making players mega bags. Toronto just went on every good prospects trade list, and this is the cherry on top. Pascal and Fred development story, both 30% max guys. One stayed, one's gone. Smooth saying Fred VanVleet did not do Toronto any favors and was always about business. Houston is brain dead for doing that contract. Hope he's happy on a 25-win team. I like everything Smooth saying, and I won't disagree with it. G saying, I was worried about our spacing and three-point shot, but forgot that Otto's back, and he's looking pretty good. If Grady's game translates quicker, that definitely helps with spacing. Joe Easy, Gary, we've got a little bit of a group of great shooters at this point on the down low. For having such a bad shooting team from three, we got reinforcements coming. And these guys are serious reinforcements. Grady Dick is a real reinforcement for this. Otto Porter coming back the way we should have had him last year, that could really, really help. And if we get anything from Joe Easy, that's another guy that is a hired gun that can bomb threes for sure. So we do have three-point shooting on the down low right now. We just got to test it and see if guys are healthy and ready to do it. Is Grady ready? Is Otto healthy? Is Joe ready to stay in this league? Those kind of questions will answer that. And the spacing with Grady's going to help already. Grady's going to help our spacing so much, guys. You just wait and watch. Randolph saying, blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Good morning. Losing Fred was inevitable. Our front office did things right. This was not a failure, unfortunate, but we will rebound. It is what it is. Casuals will look at it and say, oh, Fred's gone for nothing. The failure. I want you to fire these guys. And I'm like, fuck that. You guys stop destroying. Seriously. Raptors Nation, stop being destructive. Let's create. Let's give support. Let's give love. Let's give trust. Let's give belief that our team is good and we're moving towards good things, and stop being the way y'all have been in times lately. Monique saying, good morning, everyone. Heads up. Thank you. Fred VanVleet, we move on. Welcome, Dennis. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy, Monique. Very whirlwind of information, all kinds of stuff going down last night. Holy crap. All kinds of crazy moves every which way. We'll have to see how all the different teams look by the time the season comes around. Let's see. G saying Rockets had to use 90% of that money or they lose out on revenue sharing. It's only a 3-year contract until their youth contracts come up. To be honest, I don't think this hamstrings them at all and helps them. Yeah, I mean, I get that. And they wanted to do that. It's not, that may be an overpay and the value's not very good, but they needed to spend the money. And Fred was an opportunist. And I can't fault him for that. It's a very specialized situation that's only going to happen this one time in the 2 days after the CBA. And once they get balanced, they're not going to want to miss out on the revenue sharing. So every single team's going to correct this to get to this point. And Houston just happened to be the one team that was underspending out of all the teams to have to correct in that direction. Most of the teams are trying to come down, like Phoenix. You saw all those guys at Phoenix pick yesterday. Somebody described the Phoenix free agency, like Udoka getting reunited with Kevin Durant. That's awesome. I like seeing that. As like going on a NBA video game and picking all the lowest ranked guys, like the 70 rank rating guys, and hiring them for the minimum just to flesh out your roster. That's what the Suns did yesterday. They got like 6 guys that are like 70 overall rating and paid them the minimum. That's really what they had to do with the starting lineup. In fact, I saw a stat that shows that the 5 guys in the starting lineup for the Suns are way over the cap just by themselves. So you figure it out. They got to get 12 other players, 13 other players with no money because they're over the cap with Beal, Durant, Booker, Ayton, and Cam Payne. Yeah, they're over the cap with the 5 starters. They can't afford any bench, so they went and did what they did yesterday. Really crazy. Let's see. Guardian Transit saying, welcome, Dennis. Scottie is going to be expectation to take a large jump forward. Yeah, I'm hoping for Scottie to do this, but once again, at his own schedule, his own time, and hopefully we allow him to grow into it naturally in the right way and not, he may feel a little bit more pressure at this point. He may feel a little bit more opportunity. He may be ready to step up and say, Fred's not here anymore. I learned from him. I'm ready to do things while he's gone in his absence to step up and be the man for the Raptors now. I really hope he'll do this. Take some responsibility for leadership on this team now that Fred's gone. That's a leadership void, Scottie. You have a younger player below you now, Grady Dick, and you can be a little bit more of a leader, even though you're still one of the youngest players on this team. Name was the same. Fred was used like a pawn by the league. F and BS, man. He deserved a better fate than that. Just one more snub and face wash by the league. Everyone coming into training camp besides the core will be competing for positions. Yeah. And even those guys in the core, I mean, Pascal, Scottie, OG, you could, Pirtle even, you could say these guys are probably going to be starters. It's that one other position in the starting lineup that could be dubious. Could it be a point guard? Could it be Gary? Could it be Precious? There's a lot of different options, and it really will be Darko's philosophy that will inform the lineup decisions. So we'll have to see how it goes. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? Listen, I won't say that Fred was a pawn because he really worked out really well for him. He was in a specialized spot where he really got overpaid, and I'm so proud of him and happy for him. Nobody may get this ever again just because of the way the CBA is now. And Fred was an opportunist in a very, very specialized situation with Houston trying to spend money quickly. Let's see. Infamous saying, we need to stop this narrative that Dennis lost the bag. He said the Lakers never offered them that deal. I like that. That's once again, perception is reality. The truth about it is that actually true. What people think about Dennis Schroder and how he missed out with the Lakers. LeBron had a lot to do with what happened there. As far as things, at one point he was on the outs with LeBron, and when you're on the outs with LeBron on his team in the Lakers, you're out. So that was a big factor in what happened with Dennis and the Lakers before. Monique saying, love Bobby, just hope he blocks out these miserable fans. They don't have time to listen to all this. I just hope that this inertia doesn't cause general consensus kind of ideas about things. That's the thing that pisses me off. To a degree, the Fred percentage of hate was coming to becoming consensus in some ways, in some areas, because they were successful with painting him as a chucker and a selfish player. And so in some ways, I don't want that. That's why this can be destructive and get out of hand. It's not any individual person who sullies and does things online that's toxic for the Raptors. It's the culmination of all of them as a chorus. So don't add your voice to that kind of bullshit, Raptors fans. If you truly love this team and you want us to win more championships, don't add yourself to the toxic noise around our team that is in the way of that is not helping towards championships. Think about what you're saying online or your opinions. Is this helpful? If it isn't, then just shut up. Don't say anything. Be quiet about it. There's no reason to push things further or set yourself on fire, especially if you truly love this team and you want them to win more Larry O'Briens. Why are you fighting against it in the way you act on social media? is what I'll ask every single person in Raptors Nation. Are you adding to, building towards, and creating and getting towards the next layer, Brian? Are you in the way and causing problems to get there? That's what I'm saying. You got to figure that out for yourself and think about what you're doing as a fan. Let's see. Isaac saying next man up is back. Bench mob, let's go. Fred VanVleet has been my favorite, but we got to look at what we gained. Schroder is like a third of what Fred took. Future is wide open. Yeah, he's getting paid a third, and he may not do that much less than what Fred did on the court. Now, I will say off the court, he will not replace him as a culture leader or anything like that. But on the court, Dennis could fill a good portion of what Fred does and at less minutes and maybe a bit more efficiently. So this could be a win in some ways. Smooth saying it's insane, an insane contract. What was Toronto supposed to do? Match it? We couldn't. It wasn't real. We didn't have that amount of money to match it. There's nothing we could do. Nothing we could do. We were at the mercy of Fred. Fred signs that paper. There's nothing we can do. And I said that yesterday. I said, Fred goes there. He goes to Houston. He signs that paper. We can't match it. So it's really on Fred. If you want to stay loyal and be a Raptor for life, like you said, or you want to take this biggest, huge bag that you will never, ever see again in your life, I get it. I get it. But he lied when he said he wanted to be a Raptor for life. Name was saying 50 people in the stream. Smash a like. Don't be lazy in life. I appreciate that. Name was saying from Southern Italy. I like that. Fiercely saying, hope they don't give jersey number 23 to Schroder. Beal proudly rocking CP3's X jersey with the Suns. That's funny. I don't know what'll happen with the 23 here. It could be that he gets the same kind of status as Kyle and DeMar as a very important Raptor, that nobody wears 7 or 10 anymore. It could very well be that 23 gets that same treatment right now. I wouldn't be upset about that. I don't think it's likely that he will wear 23, but it'd be really weird if Fred VanVleet, not Fred VanVleet, if Markquis Nowell switches from 24 to 23. That'd be a really weird, interesting change of events. I think Schroder doesn't ever wear 23. That's not a number normal for him. So I don't think it's likely that he will get Fred's 23. He probably takes something weird like a 17 or like something, a low number or something. Who knows? G saying this will also stop teams from completely tearing it down and depend on draft picks since they have to fill that cap space or they will be on the Rockets' same position. Yeah, that's part of the whole thing is the CBA completely changes everything and there's reverberations. And one of the first things that changed was this thing with Houston, and the reverberation very much caught up our captain, and he got encapsulated in it. So the reverberations will ring out, and they'll have implications for teams like Houston and teams above this, way above the salary cap too, like Phoenix. So it'll be very interesting to see how it changes the way teams can move players, how they have to do their construction, how they do like asset management. It's all going to be different because that new document that Logical Raptors Fanatic is pouring over at his house, that 600 plus page document that just came out 2 days ago. Trevor's saying Fred VanVleet will be doing gold digging Franks in Houston. He's not going to be at the strip club. We know that he's a family man. So he's not going to be like James Harden, but this is going to be very weird. Seriously, Fred, you realize you just moved your young daughters to a state that's banning abortion? Yeah, hopefully you won't stay there that long. Maybe you will get traded in the next 2 years. You can get to a better place, but don't be there for too long because your kids may get to be older. And it's not that I think your kids will be irresponsible and have to get abortions, but let's just say Texas is anti-women and you have 2 daughters. Seriously, if you think about your family, you just moved your family to a place that attacks women. So that's not really protecting your family, bro. Seriously, Mike's saying the amount Fred earns isn't set. It's an estimated $130 million. It's 30% of the cap for 3 years. That's difference, not amount. It's salary payment structure. Max are set each year when that cap goes final. Okay, so he could be making more. He could be making more as it increases over the years. And he just gets a set 30% of their salary cap for the next 3 years. That's hilarious. He's going to be getting so much more money than them youngsters. It's going to be very, very weird. Monique saying, how did your interview go? Not sure. I asked. Oh, okay. Thanks, Monique. I should be appearing on To The Point on their content today. If you go and check out T.O. just like OG does his name, it's T.O. The Point, that YouTube channel with Brian. I have my appearance should be getting posted today. So go check it out if you want to watch the Raptor Freak appearing on To The Point from the other day. It should be dropping today. So give King a follow at T.O. point to the point. Another YouTube Raptors channel that I was on. It went good. I think it was pretty good. Monique, you should check it out. It should be pretty good. We talk a bit about Grady Dick. We did talk about Fred, and we were wrong what we said about Fred on that clip, but it is what it is. Cowboy saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Happy Canada Day. Let's go. I'm happy for Fred and love the Schroder pickup. It's the beginning of a new Raptors era. Let's go. This is the kind of enthusiasm and positivity that I just love about the people that come to this channel. Is Raptor Freak Canadian Cowboy is ready to just pick it up and keep going, whether or not Fred's here or not. He's proud of Fred, happy he got his bag, but he's excited and energized by Dennis Schroder coming here and the promise of what can happen with us still. Yeah. Monique saying, why Boston? Why Dalano? They love our guys. They got Brissett yesterday. O'Shea Brissett signing with Boston. And maybe Dalano. I hope either Dalano signs with San Antonio or us. Those are the two places I'd like Dalano to go to the most. Please just come back, Dalano. Just make it right. You can come back now. Fred's gone. It may be easier for you to get minutes. Darko may very much want to use you in certain ways. You know you like being home. Don't go to Boston. You know we hate Boston so much. You're a Toronto kid. You know how much we should hate Boston. You know you shouldn't go there. You did the meeting. I know Justin's there, and that may be part of the reason why you may want to go play for Boston is to be reunited with Champagne. But man, seriously, we don't like the idea of 45 bucks being on in a Celtics jersey. It just seems so fucked up. MSJ saying a nameless thanks, man. And to anyone doubting me, I think of this team first. That's my bias. And to be cold, I look at the players as parts. No player worship here or nostalgic thoughts as of past events. You need to have a balance, though, MSJ, in some ways, because these guys do deserve our respect as legends from our franchise. But I totally get what you're saying. And in fact, I operate the same way. It's not that they're like parts or just like I don't dehumanize them in that way. But I understand if we need Fred to leave to get better or to have better for our future, then so be it. Because ultimately, the thing you care about and what I care about is the Raptors being having winning and doing well and succeeding. And if we have to make tough moves to get to the next point to where we're trying to win, we'll do that. And that's what matters the most. I get what you're saying, but I fall in love with the players and I do care about them and I do get emotionally attached. I can't be as cold as just saying, oh, they're just commodities that we move and we want the best ones on our team. Cowboys saying Scottie, Grady, OG, Pascal, and Yak with the great Raptor chomp face. That's a nice lineup. It's not bad. Eric Smith was kind of doing a assessment at the end of the night. He put down all the names of who we have right now. He's like, you know what? This team doesn't sound bad, y'all. Like everybody's crying out, oh, the Raptors aren't going to be very good next year. Well, go look at us on paper and kind of reassess things and kind of forecast that some of our guys can make big leaps and be much better players this year. Infamous is saying, why are people upset about him taking the money? Kyle, when he was here, preached the same thing and got no criticism. Let's be consistent, folks. Now, I criticized Kyle about that too. I'm not very money person myself in my personal life, so I don't totally get like selling out to the devil for the biggest bag. It's just not something I would do. It's just, which is really not, it's not common. I get that. More people are more likely to be like Fred. But for me, if I was in his position, I may not have made that same choice because I don't value money in this world like other people do in some ways. So I get it. I get what you're saying. I was critical of Kyle at that time too. So I am consistent. I was critical of that too. But, the money thing is what it is. Smooth saying Fred is not the heart and soul of this team. It's Pascal. Yeah, he already said he's going to sign an extension with Toronto. Look in Pascal's eyes and he's telling the truth. Yeah. No, I believe him. And thank God. And that's why anybody who's coming after Siakam and slandering him or saying get rid of him next, fuck you. Just like I said to Click earlier. Yeah, no, we ain't doing this. Come on, man. Seriously, I know you're a real Raptors fan, Click, but that's not what a real Raptors fan should be saying. We got to get rid of our one last active champion who was a big part of that team that won the championship. You want to get rid of all of them? That's why I hate that you said that, man. In fact, I was waiting for somebody to take that trap, and I'm sad that it was Click because it really makes me feel like I don't like him anymore for this point because I see you as part of the problem at this point, Click. If you're coming after every single good thing that we have like this, it's showing a pattern, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. Siakam needs to stay. He's loyal, and what Smooth is saying is very important. and I believe Siakam, just like he's saying he believes him too. Duke saying a good comparable for Fred is Jalen Brunson, 43 million versus 25 million for Jalen Brunson. I know that's insane. That's insane. You can make the argument you'd rather have Brunson. Happy for Fred, but he ain't worth 43 million. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. I can say, good job, Fred. Glad you got the bag, but you're not worth it. And in some ways, I'm glad we're not paying you that much. I mean, if we were paying him 43 million a year, people would be so mad at our front office right now. And meanwhile, Houston's team is just so happy about it. Monique saying now is a good time for a hustle play, but man, I don't know if they're going to do anything. I don't know if Chris is going to do a hustle play anytime soon. I fully expect him to do one with Grady Dick, though. He's going to have a Grady Dick hustle play episode soon. Watch. Sheer Khan saying, this just dawned on me. Is Dennis the best Raptors free agent signing ever? He's not that old, has played for LA in a big role, and was really good with Atlanta and OKC. This kind of feels like a win-win, like you said, Lex. I don't know if he's the biggest free agent signing ever. I don't think that's true. In fact, they say that Fred is our biggest free agency signing from when we got him undrafted. That they count that as the biggest Raptors franchise free agency signing ever. You know, back in the day, some people would say it was Jose Calderon. There's been different people that have kind of been big free agents that we got that are kind of underrated that people don't really put a shine on from our past. But we haven't had the most crazy good free agency signings. But I wouldn't say it's Dennis Schroder. No, I would put Calderon over it, and definitely Fred as an undrafted signee. And what happened with him, that is the greatest free agency signing in our history, is Fred, who just left. MSJ saying, I would say Fred is gone. So that's it for me and Fred. I don't care about him anymore. But Dennis, oh my, yes, he's my point guard now. Dennis the man now. I love Dennis. Let's go, Dennis, be a menace. Yeah, I'm ready to see him annoy the shit out of everybody else. Seriously. Mike saying infamous facts and smooth. Yeah, you're right and wrong. Siakam and Fred were both the heart of the team, like Kalo and DeMar. Now it's going to be Spicy and Pirtle, who man things. Pearl seems capable of being vocal. I'd like to see Scottie step into that. Maybe OG grows a little bit more into a leadership role. Who knows? Maybe even Chris decides, I'm an elder guy on this team. I could be more of a leader. Otto, if Otto's more active and around the team more this year, he could very much be kind of a leader around the team too. There's a couple of different options. I think Pirtle is a good guess, though, too. As above, so below saying, so break it down. Schroder averaged 4.5 assists, so he's not a playmaker, and he averaged 12.5 points, so he's not a scorer. Ceiling is 13 points a game, and he averages high minutes. Not good stat line. All right, as above, so below. You're sliding Dennis before he even showed up. Listen, he can play half the minutes that Fred had, and I don't care about his output. Once again, the things I care about from Dennis Schroder next season are going to be steady, capable leadership, good defense. If he makes an open shot when he gets open shots, gets steals, I won't care about how much he scores. I won't care about how many assists he gets, because what we need is we need a defensive point guard that can guard other guards like Fred did to an extent, and he can do that. In fact, he may even be better at certain defensive things as a guard than Fred is, with his longer arms and his ability and his quickness. So listen, we have different ideas about what to expect from Dennis. I don't expect him to fill Fred's shoes. I expect him to fill his shoes defensively, but otherwise, the offensive stuff, give it to the rest of the Raptors. Dennis doesn't need it. Dennis doesn't need the shots. He doesn't need the shot attempts. All he needs is to be able to hit his shots enough to keep the defense honest, so they have to guard him still. Otherwise, I don't want the water to go to him. He's not really a part of our future in the long run. So we need to get the water to go to OG, Scottie, Precious, Jeff Doughton Jr., Pascal even more. So, yeah, there you go. I look at it totally different than you. In some ways, he's not coming to replace him offensively. He's coming to replace him as a defensive point guard leader and maybe as our starter. Cowboys saying, he who shall not be named is a piece of shit. Raptors fan my ass. He will talk about someone else for sure. I know. I am just fully expecting it. They're already seeing either Scottie, Pascal. I'm seeing Bobby Webster. I'm seeing Masai Ujiri. These guys are not names y'all need to be coming after and targeting right now, you motherfuckers. You negative ass motherfucking Raptors people. Fuck, you piss me off so bad. When is it going to be enough? The blood that you're letting from our team. You just going to fucking pick names all the way down the roster until everybody's fucking good that's gone? You fucks. Stop fucking destroying, you fucks. Isaac saying, people saying Pascal needs to go and we need to rebuild around Scottie and OG is nonsense. Growth comes from playing with people who challenge you. It's stupid to say it will just happen. Yep, Isaac's exactly right. Infamous saying, Logic, you're right. Who would turn down the money? He will never get the chance again. Much love to Fred. Yeah, he did what he had to do in that situation. All right, top saying, I guess I'm a casual or a troll, whatever y'all want to call me, but I was right, though. He was about the bag and he got it. I told you he was chasing the bag. No loyalty like y'all thought. Bye, Fred. All right, top. You know what? I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this one. Seriously. You were right. You were right. And I will admit that you were right that Fred chased the bag and took it. You know, if you want to be right, you can be right. And I will say you were right. This is well earned. Now you're right about something that's sad. Do you really feel good about yourself? Seriously. You really feel good that you had a lesser opinion of someone and they actually came through with being that person? Yeah. Does that feel good? Seriously. Where do you get satisfaction from that? If you're a Raptors fan, that shouldn't feel good. Seriously, it should not feel good to you. I'm not going to call you a casual. I may call you a troll, but I'm not going to call you casual because you made it very clear. You've been watching since 95. I heard you. I listened. I remember shit. And you were right. Seriously, I'll admit when people are right. Fun Guy was right about Nick. You were right about Fred. Forgive me for wishing the best and the positive side for what could happen with our guys. And you were right. I will say it. I say it over again. You're right. There you go. G saying, would Scottie take the bag or stay on the team? No player, or at least the vast majority, is not turning that down without a no trade clause. Scottie would take that bag in that situation. If Scottie was in the same situation that Freddie was in yesterday, he would do the same damn thing. In fact, he may not even think twice about it. He'd do it quicker than Fred would. I'm telling you right now, I know that for a fact. Scott is going to take the most money at every single situation when it's presented in front of him. I just know his personality from last summer, and I know for sure he's going to pick the money no matter what. So that's what people need to realize about Scott right now. And that's what the front office needs to be ready for, too. Fun Guy saying, damn, I can't believe this guy left, man. It is what it is, Fun Guy. It is what it is. He's not dead to us, and he's in good standing, but we got to adjust and move on. David's saying, shout out to Masai and Bobby. Incredible job in the front office. Always calm, always calculated, and they make the right decisions at the end of the day. These guys are masters at assessing talent. They understand things like personnel, like with the coaches and the players, and he brings good people. They bring good people to this franchise. Bobby Webster, we love you. We're sharing the love today for you and the hard, tough job you do as the GM of the Raptors in a very difficult situation. Some of the situations that you have to deal with are not like any other NBA team, and you navigate them very, very well. And even if people do not think you're doing a good job, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And that's right, David. You're right. Thank you for giving praise to our front office when many are not right now, and they don't fucking know what they're talking about. Monique saying, happy Canada Day, Raptors Nation. Thank you, Monique. Happy Canada Day to you also. Mike saying, after the first Rockets offer, he was leaning Rap still. So 43 for 2 years was a lot of money, but he was still saying he'd rather play in Toronto. This is true. So the Rockets gave him an offer he couldn't refuse to leave. 3 years at the same rate, and he couldn't refuse it because he wanted at least 3 years, and that's what it was. Infamous saying, no, why no hate to Kyle? Kyle was all about the money. He kept saying it as a business. I don't hate Fred. I'm telling you, I don't hate Fred in this situation. I'm treating Fred and Kyle the same exact way right now. There's no hate towards Kyle or Fred from me. There wasn't ever. Seriously, there really wasn't. You know, I could be critical of the way they played for us at times while they played for us, but I was never like these Kyle haters from years ago and never, ever like the Fred haters from this past year. So that's the way I look at it right there. Kyle hate was just as bad as Fred hate back then. Y'all know it was. Think about that first game against Orlando in the first round of the championship year. Think about the hate that Kyle got after that first stinker game in the first round against the Orlando Magic. He got so much crap, and he used to get so much crap for him and DeMar's field goal percentage in the playoffs and how badly they play in the playoffs. They play real good in the regular season, and they do not do good in the postseason. So Kyle got his fair share of hate, just like Fred did from Raptors Nation. Trust me. Space Cadet saying, I blame Houston more than I blame Fred. They offered a stupid amount. Fred would look dumb if he had rejected that offer. Yeah, this is true. Top 10 player in the league. What the hell is Houston even doing? Yeah, they're idiots. That's mismanagement. In some ways, you could say what Houston did yesterday was like dumb. Like that's a bad front office. They overpaid for a player, and in a really weird way. And I will agree with that. Cool Cat saying this year, Fred made his statement, get me the bag, Klutch. Pascal's statement threatening not to resign with team that trades for him. Yeah, there's a very different dichotomy and difference between Siakam and VanVleet. Yeah, and Cook has pointed out as a very strong Siakam stan, she's very right in that one. And her dude is a real one, apparently. Yeah, I think Fred's a real one too, but this circumstance just happened to happen the way that it happened. Siakam, well, I believe him when he says he's a real one. He really does want to be a Raptor. Cowboys saying, I'm not a Freddie fan, but it does suck that we didn't get anything back. But it is what it is. Let's go, Raptors. Well, there's nothing we could do about it. It's the situation and the way it is. And I don't get this whole get back thing. It's so dumb. Once again, I think people have this whole weird fallacy of idea of like free agency is free agency. We couldn't do jack shit about Kawhi going to the Clippers. We couldn't do jack shit about that. So you can say it's a fail. It's like other people want to make a victory over us by saying, oh, they lost him for nothing. You're echoing bullshit from haters of the Raptors when you say it's a fail that he left with nothing. This happens to teams every fucking day, all the time. Not every day, but it happens every year. Players leave teams and they don't get anything from them. Are people putting that on blast all the time? No. They're just doing it sometimes to us in Toronto. They don't ever talk about how this player walked from Philadelphia and they didn't get anything from him right now, like Georges Niang. Georges Niang just walked on Philadelphia. They didn't get nothing for him. Are people going on about that right now? See, that's why I don't get this bullshit about this. It seems like it's very specifically with the Raptors. And do other teams ever get burned for like losing guys just because they signed somewhere else for free agency? No. So that's why I don't get this whole thing, why Raptors Nation is so caught up on losing guys for nothing. It's such bullshit. Every team does it, and it's not as big a deal as everybody puts it. It seriously isn't. Smooth saying Fred VanVleet is not going to make any difference to Houston. They are still going to be garbage. That's very clear cut, and I'm on it. Country Kong's here. Good to see Scottie Barnes, Twitch family. Country Kong is in the house. One of the originals from Scottie Barnes Twitch time last year. Good to see Country Kong. Good morning, Raptors freaks. I'm sad to see we lost Fred and Dalano for nothing. Glad we re-signed Yak and extending Gary. Lex, what do you think we will be able to find a way to replace Fred's production? I hope it's as a collective across the whole lineup, as I described earlier. We may not have lost Dalano. Just hold your breath. We'll have to see where Dalano actually signs. He has not signed yet, and we are in the running. This is easier now that Fred did what he did. We can probably still bring Dalano back if we want to. So we'll have to see. But good to see you, Country Kong. And I'm very glad that we re-signed Jakob. In fact, I was very emotional when I saw that we got Jakob back. That made me really, really happy. But then just a little while later, sadness because of the Fred news. So at least we got that really happy, joyous moment when Jakob signed. Yay, woo. And then Fred, and then after Fred, Dennis Schroder. So it was a little bit of a shit sandwich. 2 nice pieces of bread and a shit fucking thing in the middle with Fred. So David's saying, Cowboy, we got 130 million back. That's right. We got more money in our cap space because this guy's gone now. G saying, of course, it's about money, but he also made history. Players like Nowell and Alvarado can now see their dreams come true. He blazed the path that these guys can follow. It's pretty good. All right, Click saying, just got home from work. All of you will disagree, but with Fred leaving, it's time to extend OG, Gary, and trade Pascal for as much as you can get. Build around OG and Scottie. Yeah, we're going to disagree. I can't cut that tire. We need a champion on this team, and we need to have a linkage to possibly say that we have dynasty champion. So, yeah, I hate this so much, Click. And I'm sorry if I've been disrespectful towards you this morning. I really hate this idea. I really, really do. Siakam's a very useful piece on our team. He's an important player. He's our top player. And I don't like this. Once again, I don't want to talk about any more moves. If Bobby and Masai decide that they think a move should be made, then we'll see it then. But I'm sick of people that aren't in the fucking front office saying what they should do. I'm sick of this shit. Click, don't tell them how to do their job. They know how to do their fucking job, so let them do their job. And that goes for the rest of Raptors Nation. I'm not going to tell them what to do with management. No, I'm not. I'm not dumb enough to do that. I'm not so egotistical. I'm going to try and tell Masai and Bobby how to do their fucking job. So let them do their job. If they decide to trade Pascal in the way that you did, then I'll say Click was right. They thought that was the best idea. They're going to do it. But yeah, I'm sick of this noise because this noise is the shit. These are the little sparks that lead to the inferno of the bullshit that happened with Nick and Fred this year. So stop, man. Seriously. You're not the GM. And even if you think that's the right idea, don't add the noise. Keep it to yourself or something. I don't care because it adds to a whole bunch of bullshit that we just don't need right now. These guys make the decisions. The front office, they're going to do it. We react to it later. We have no power in this. No, let's not try and influence on that. Let them do their fucking job, and we will see how they do it. And hopefully they do it very well. MSJ saying, I will also say, decent job, Masai and Bobby. They came out of the fire last year rather well. Traded for a center, drafted a pure shooter, and signed a point guard. Well done. All issues solved at David Saborin. I love this. MSJ, see, this is the positive kind of statements and thinking that I want from more Raptors fans. Is look, they got the center we've been asking for years, and they got him locked down now for 4 years. They got a shooter in the draft right away, Grady Dick. Addressed an issue with our team. They are actively trying to fix problems on our team as they come up, and maybe more come up because people leave, and we got to keep fixing those problems. So they are actively, proactively fixing stuff, and they're not making whiffs. They're not doing stupid shit to try and fix stuff that is not effective. They are fixing stuff because they are getting people that will fix it. Koloko, Jakob, Grady Dick, Dennis Schroder on a quickness kind of move last night. That's what I'm saying. Respect this front office, Raptors Nation, and realize they're doing a very good job. It's a hard, difficult job that's fraught with difficult decisions and pitfalls you can fall into. And it's not easy to do. Y'all think it's so easy because you can do it on your trade machine and all this stuff. You do not understand how hard Bobby's job is. All right. Logical saying, Country Kong, Dalano isn't gone. He's a UFA where we can offer him his minimum, which was lower than the qualifying offer to retain restricted free agency. We were looking at stretching things. Dalano Banton gets more from us now. This is true. That's part of it. It was a smart business decision to not do the thing with Dalano because it was more money if we did that. And in some ways we can save money and do it on the cheaper in this regard, the way we're doing it. So that's a big part of it. It was a cost-cutting move to save money. We can get him for cheaper, possibly. So would you say that Bobby and Masai are smart for cutting him and then turning around and getting for less money in that way of a cost saving? I'd say that's a pretty good move. That's smart management. Sheer Khan saying, was it John Wall or Eric Gordon who said Houston is not serious about winning? Weren't they on the longest losing streak and players walking off the court showing off? Bet you he'll be wanting out next year. Yeah, Fred's going to hate this situation. If it's true that he had problems with immaturity on our team here with some of the young guys, well, he's going to have the fucking problem like crazy down there. In fact, he'll be so outnumbered down there. Up here, at least he had Pascal, OG, and Jakob around. And down there, I don't know who the other vets are on that team. Boban? Is that it? It may be Fred and Boban are the only two vets down there trying to lead everybody. Just think about that fucking stew down there and how dysfunctional and stupid it's going to get. Who's going to piss Fred off? And Fred's a real one. He can't hide or bullshit people. If he doesn't like somebody, he's just not going to like them. And I think it's very highly likely he's not going to like one of the young Rockets players for some sort of reason. Seriously, for real. For real. Monique saying, how can you not be happy for Gary? I don't know. I'm happy he's still a Raptor. It's all good. I don't know what the number is. In some ways, I don't want him to mess us up. But if he gets a bag and he deserves it, I'm all for it. And I do like locking him down here in Toronto. Top saying, I don't want Schroder to start, but I predicted they will get him. And Pascal should be the next person to be moved in order to get a starting point guard and retool the roster around Scottie and OG. Okay, see, he's echoing what Click's saying, too. I think this is a narrative that fuckers are already jumped on right as soon as Fred's gone. Now they're saying they want Pascal out. Do you understand, top? You're doing the bidding of Celtics Nation. Do you understand you're doing the bidding of Sixers Nation? You may understand that because you knew that, and you're just acting like you're a Raptors fan right now. Then you're a Celtics fan. Your icon is green on my screen and shit like that. You want to tear down our championship team so bad. You want to get rid of every single remnant, and Pascal's the last part. That's what I'm going to take. Every single person that's putting the Pascal trade shit out there, you are fucking anti-Raptors being champions because you want to get rid of all existence of the Raptors winning a championship on our team presently. So fuck this shit. Fuck you, Top. I'm going to put you with Click right now. I'm going to say fuck you to anybody's suggestion Siakam gets traded right now. Monique saying some fans even want D'Lo. I know those are stupid fans too. We don't want D'Angelo Russell. He's a loser. He's a loser kind of player. Y'all are all pissed off about Chucker, low percentage, Fred VanVleet. Well, hello, D'Lo is just as bad as him, worse. He is worse, Chucker, and bad efficiency as an offensive player. So, yeah, Russell's not the answer. Shirkon's getting agreed with by Smooth. Click saying Raptors fucked up at the trade deadline completely, though. They should have got Yak and also traded Fred to get value. There was no offer for Fred. This is what people are trying to say to people today, Click. Doug Smith and all these media guys know a bit better, and they're standing up for the front office and saying that the front office had no move. They had no reason to trade Fred at that time. Because in some ways, like I've said, once again, Click, they had no idea that the CBA would have the provision that the Houston Rockets would have to spend 90% of their salary cap yesterday. Nobody knew that at the trade deadline this year. You want to get in the Wayback Machine with Sherman and fucking Mr. Peabody and take a time machine back and say, well, Mr. Peabody, we better trade Fred right now. We didn't know that. So why the fuck would we trade him when he's in good graces with us? He's talked to the front office saying in the summer, I'd like to sign with y'all. He had no idea that Houston could balloon payment this and that the NBA would force them to do this. So there's no woulda, coulda, shoulda here, Click. You can't go back in time and change it. It's real easy to be 2020 prognosticator looking back. There was no opportunity to move Fred at the trade deadline. So that's a fallacy to put that on the fucking front office and say that shit. That's what I'm saying. You can't say that they fucked that up because they didn't know this was going to happen with the CBA. CBA came out 2 days ago. How the fuck did they are supposed to know what's on those 600 pages of paper? Seriously, think about what I'm saying. Mike's saying, bottom line, if we were arguing Fred isn't worth resigning even at $30 million, you're wrong. So wanting Fred gone for the right reasons is actually truth being right. Mike, I don't know what hill you're trying to stand on with this. It's not important at this point. Just let it fucking go. If you're worried about like arguing with Fred haters about how much he was valued, you're right. Look at it. It's the proof is in the pudding. You're damn right. We get your point, but you don't need to argue this over the head on us right now. It's a little too repetitive. We get it. Fred was worth a lot more money. He's a little bit overpaid right now, but that's what I'm saying. You're right. The proof is in the pudding. How much did he get paid? And that goes totally against the narratives of Fred haters from last year. If that is what your axe to grind right now, just let it go. You said something about it 3 times now in the chat, and I'm already at 3 hours. Mo's saying Raptors are for life regardless. That's right, Mo. That's the basic part of it right there. Fun guy saying, man, what is up with Raptors letting guys go for nothing? Oh, my God. The draft picks and potential young stars we could have had at the trade deadline. This is unbelievable. Limiting ourselves for no reason. Are you fucking Nostradamus, fun guy? Do you predict the future and you know exactly how everything's going to go? This is what I'm trying to say. Did you hear what I just said, fun guy? This goes against this whole idea that we let guys go for nothing. We could not have avoided this. There was no deal for Fred at the trade deadline. We weren't even shopping him because we didn't realize this situation would come up this way. Y'all need to realize this. Monique saying Pirtle Power. I like that. Cowboys saying we need Banton. I believe Raptors won't let him walk. Raptors for life. Let's go. Well, they already let him walk. We'll just have to see if we can recapture him. Country Kong saying Logical Raptors Freak. That's a huge relief that we have a chance to keep Dalano. I'm a huge believer in Delano's potential, and we need him even more now without Fred. I agree with this. In terms of cap space, do we still have the MLE? The MLE was used on Dennis. We used the MLE on Dennis. Now there's a secondary MLE, a smaller one that could be used for Dalano, I believe. Logical saying, Country Kong, we got that injury exemption for $3 million. That's the one I'm talking about. Mike's talking about it. They should cover Banton easy. The issue before was the salary building up, but the room is to do things now because Fred's loosened it up. We have all the room in the world. That's why we can give $8 million to Thad at midnight last night. Because the Fred deal didn't happen. And we can hopefully circle around and get Dalano back. Smooth saying Toronto had interest in Dennis before. Prior to signing with the Lakers, it was reported that there was an offer on the table from Toronto as well. Okay, yeah. I mean, he's our kind of guy. He really is. Monique's saying Scottie will learn a lot from Dennis when it comes to YouTube streaming. I didn't know that Dennis is on YouTube. Is he on YouTube? Well, I'm going to go see what Dennis is doing on media. Cowboys saying Dennis the Menace will be good for us, I believe. I think so, too. He's going to be fun. He's a fan favorite. People like him. Logical saying Dante and Dennis mentors isn't what I was thinking play-wise. Means they have experience at playing guard, but we need a great point guard mentor for Scottie till now is the part I'm worried about. A coach works. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Well, I don't know. Scottie's going to get mentoring from who's going to get mentoring. Maybe the important point guard mentoring's from Brian Macon. The whole mosaic of who's influencing Scott on how to be a playmaker and make plays in the NBA should be varied. And it shouldn't just be one singular guy. And it could very well be that Freddie and Scottie weren't working that closely together. And this won't have anything to do with changing the path that Scott is on as far as learning point guard just because Fred left. I don't buy this bullshit, Mike. Dennis knows a lot and he can teach him. Just like, hopefully Malachi can teach him some stuff that he's learned as an older vet than him. I'm not buying into this. I'm not worried about this. Cowboys saying 51 people watching. Smash the like button for the best Raptors content on the planet. Let's go. Thank you. Let's grow, Bradley. I like that. Country Kong saying, consider this once in a blue moon cap situation the Rockets just found themselves in. Could you imagine if the beneficiary of their cap space was OG or Pascal? Sad we lost Fred, but it could have been worse. Yes. Country Kong, once again, very much on point with the viewpoint here. It could have been way worse. If it was going to be one of these guys, at least it wasn't a 6'9" guy. It was the one guy who wasn't 6'9". So Bobby Webster's 6'9" vision is still intact. But this is totally true. This could have lined up and it could have been one of those other names instead of Fred. So in some ways, this is good. Monique saying, thank God Gabe Vincent went the Lakers and not us. You didn't like Gabe Vincent, so you were happy about this. I'm with you, Monique. I'm with you on this. I know a lot of people like Gabe Vincent because of his run with the Heat in this last playoff. But in some ways, I don't value him as much as Dennis. Dennis has more of a track record of consistency. And he has certain things that he does, just intangibles and things that he does night in, night out. And Gabe Vincent's a little bit more streaky as far as his output and what you can expect from him from night to night. He had a really good run in the playoffs that has inflated his value a bit this summer, and the Lakers paid to that. And we didn't need to do that in some ways. So I agree with this. Cowboys saying, let's go, Nowell. Let's grow. That's right. I like that. Mike saying, people acting like Fred was the only player available to get that money. He was chosen over more physically talented guys because he's actually a great leader, something which people questioned here. Laughed my ass off. Mike, just let it go. He's gone now. We will stand up for him in his stead as he's gone, and we will prove to them more and more as time goes on. But right now is not the time to do it. Let's wait for results on the court, and then we will talk about how the Fred haters were wrong last season. And I don't want us to be bad to just prove a point. I want us to win, but we can still figure out places where Fred's missed, and we can point that out to the people that slandered him so bad this year. But yeah, this is too early to do this, Mike. It really is. And you're really harping on this too much right now. Seriously. Josh Monroe saying Raptors will not be held back by Fred's ISO ball hogging ways. He is holding the roster back, so it's a positive outcome that will allow players to play freely and not have to be on the sidelines. Well, it's opportunities are knocking for everybody around the Raptors organization and the ways that they can be successful and get to newer places. I'm all about it, Josh Monroe, and good to see you once again today. Monique saying, stop the hate of Pascal, please, please. Yes, I hear you, Monique. Let's see. Evelyn saying, anyone have printing shirt services here? Yes, Evelyn, if you want to get shirts printed for a fair price, you can even tell them about me and say, hey, I know Alexi used to work at Kensington Variety. Go to Exile in Kensington Market. I know those guys pretty well down there. They've done shirt printings for me in the past, and they've been fantastic. They'll do them really quick, and they'll give you a good rate, especially if you're going to do bulk. So, Evelyn, if you want to do some printing on shirts, go to Exile. Exile's not bad. They're in the heart of Kensington on Kensington Avenue, across from Rasta Pasta on Kensington Avenue. That's a great place to go get shirts printed. Trust me. I got my Fun Guy shirt done there. Cowboy saying, yeah, Granny Evelyn, I try and tell you tomorrow, darling, if you don't mind, got to ask my twin. I don't know the same name on the top of my head, but they print our Tada clothing. Okay, she knows a place too. But I would say Exile. Shere Khan saying the other person talking about getting a bag was Poole, and look what happened to him. The little splash bro was out of there so fast. It was insane. With so much shot chucking in Washington that Tyus will want out. Washington's going to be a weird team. Kyle Kuzma is staying with Washington. That's very interesting to me. I thought he was going to go somewhere, but he's running it back. He got that money. He's staying in as a Wizard. Cowboys saying, I am Canadian. Let's go. Happy Canada Day, y'all. Leslie saying, Houston is driving up the prices for players in the NBA. Fred will be making more than Kyrie, KD, Joker, and Booker. Redonkulous. Redonkulous. I love that you said redonkulous. Yeah, that's true. He's going to get paid by more than a lot of players. He gets paid more than John Morant, y'all. Cowboys saying that's a bomb. Leslie, let's go Raptors. Chomp, 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 chomp. Mike saying, I think we're looking at Terrence Davis II. I know, I've seen this. And Dante Still. Two, shooting with ball skills and defensives could be a solid bench guard. I'm telling you, DiVincenzo is going to New York. Mike, just listen to me. I don't think Terrence Davis will come back here. He wasn't very welcome here when he was here, so I don't think it's likely the team will bring back Terrence Davis. There's a rumor that we're looking at him, but I don't believe it. Cowboys saying, I'm having a beer right now. I'm Canadian. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's go, Raptors and Raptor freaks. Keep your heads up. All right, Bradley, get your celebration on, Canada today. Wayne is saying, hang on, going social justice for a minute. Mostly all of these big money contracts are going to non-white cohort who are not sympathetic to Nazi ideology, but to social justice causes. Such causes need money. I'm not even sure what you're trying to say, Wayne. When you put the word Nazi in there, it's kind of like, what are you trying to say? And I'm a little worried about this. Now, you're not. I'm pretty sure I know that you are a person of color, so I have to remember that in this situation. I don't know how to suss this out. I don't know if I'm ready to be political off your statement because I don't know exactly what your point is, and I don't want to mischaracterize it. And honestly, I don't want to get too political right now. I'm already getting a little fired up from just the regular Raptor stuff today, and politics would get me real crazy right now, especially with the Supreme Court's decisions yesterday. Leslie saying a Canadian Cowboy, happy Canada Day. Enjoy your beer. And Mike has cut it off. Thank you. You cut it off just before noon. I appreciate that. Finally cut it off. All right, let's see. Cool Cat saying no more messages. Smooth saying Dame has requested a trade out of Portland, according to Woj. That makes sense. That makes complete sense. And what I'm going to predict right now, he's going to get traded to Philadelphia, and Tyrese Maxey is going to be a Blazer, and Dame Lillard is going to be paired up with Joel Embiid in Sixers with Nick Nurse. I'm going to predict that right now, that Dame Lillard is going to be a Sixer very soon, guys. Cowboys saying one more thing to all Raptors freaks. Happy Canada Day and stay safe. We the North. Let's go. Keep up the good work, Lex. Later, everyone. Let's go, Raptors. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you, Bradley. Such a supportive, great, awesome Raptor freak. Trevor saying breaking news. Damian requested a trade to Portland. Yep. And Brian's here. Good to see King. King. That's right. T.O. The point. To the point, dropping content today with me involved in it. Definitely go give a follow to King and his channel. To the point, y'all. Keep up the good work, freak. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Common Crazy saying no swearing Sunday. It's Saturday. Just kidding. You know what? I should stop swearing so much on my channel, but then again, I don't want to. I want to keep swearing. All right, let's see. Alex is saying, damn, y'all sucking off Fred so hard, and he busting someone else. What the fuck is that? I'm going to give you a strike, Alex. Just some weird shit. Fred is a great valued Raptor from the history that he has with our team. He's a success story. Stop hating. This man came from nowhere and made himself a max contract. How can you hate that? How can you hate that, Alex? You get a strike. Honestly, I should give you 2 strikes. Seriously. Gio saying Dame just requested a trade. All right, we hear that again. And Kareem retracted his message. All right, Mike saying people harped on Fred hard all last year. You said it. The proof is in the pudding. I'm looking for solutions here going forward. You can't change the past, only what comes next. Mega W stream. Thank you, Mike. And check out Logical Raptors Fanatic at 2 o'clock, dropping his second part on the CBA. I hope you address some of this stuff that just happened with these rules and why Houston had to do what they did yesterday with their Monty Brewster spending from Brewster's Millions. It's like the NBA told them, it's like, you need to spend this amount of money by this time, Houston, or you do not get your incentives or your, or allowances. And they're like, all right, we'll take that task. Let's go call Fred real quick and throw a huge bag at him. Really, really huge bag. So, yeah, check out Blake Murphy on Twitter. He's got the Raptors updated salary cap sheet up to date from yesterday. You can tell you a lot about what's going on with us. Lots of reaction to the free agency yesterday, all kinds of moves. I could have gone over all kinds of moves that happened in the league all around and different people going different places, but I ain't going to do that. I'm going to look at each team when the season comes up and we'll assess them then. Check on your WNBA fantasy teams. If you're in the Raptor Freak WNBA Fantasy League, make sure you got your active lineup out there and get them started and in their plan. Because if you don't play them, you don't get the stats. That's just how it is. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. On one more real quick thing, I want to talk about Bobby Webster some more. Seriously, this guy's a young hotshot. This guy's an up-and-coming great GM, and we want to keep our good talent here in Toronto. We're losing too much. In some ways, we are getting a brain drain right now, and we have to counteract it by stopping the drain. We have good things going. We don't need to lose any more people. I look over at my thing and I see Nick and Fred are gone now. And the only face that's still on our team is Pascal's. And I want to preserve this. So please stop going after Pascal, y'all. Seriously. And stop going after Bobby Masai. Masai and Bobby are doing a fantastic job. Bobby Webster is one of the best GMs in the NBA. And it was evidenced once again in the very tumultuous, crazy day yesterday that he was quick on his toes. He went and got Schroder right away after Fred made a decision to go chase the bag. And in some ways, you can't hate that. Y'all can be mad and you can be wondering what the front office is doing. It's only because y'all are trying to control way more than you're supposed to. Once again, everybody in life needs to understand what they can and cannot control. The Raptors front office is controlled by the Raptors front office. You guys do not control them. And when they don't do what you want, stop treating them like a child that you need to reprimand or punish. That's not how this works. These guys are astute geniuses at their job. They're very, very good at it. They have a proven track record. And y'all need to start really believing in the tenement of the Raptor Free cult is trust in Masai, trust in Bobby, understand that these guys have the best interests, the best intelligent minds to deal with our particular specific situation as the only team in the NBA that is in Canada. So listen, stop slandering our guys. And if you're American people masquerading as Canadians to try and tear down our team, fuck you and get the fuck out of our fan spaces, fuckers. Because I know that y'all are part of the problem right here. So, all right, y'all, I appreciate y'all following me. Tomorrow, a special Sunday report on the 2019 Toronto Raptors championship team and how it's been dismantled over the years. We're going to go over it piece by piece, and we'll be a little suspicious, a little bit of conspiracy theory, but also very much grounded in facts about how it all went down and how this happened to us at this point. All right, y'all, I really, really do appreciate your follow, and I will be back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Please like, comment, subscribe, and let's go Raptors. Now more than ever, the era of Fred being on our team is over. It's a new chapter, new opportunities, next man up, new chances, new shot attempts, new places for people to possibly get with their careers as Raptors on our team. And don't ever count out a new coach with fresh ideas, who's very, very good leader, a good humanitarian person like Darko, and his impact he will have on our team also. All right, y'all. We love you, Bobby. Keep doing what you do. Real ones know and respect the winning percentage that the Raptors front office has compared to most front offices in this league right now. They lose all the time, the other front offices, and we win most of the time. And remember that, Raptors Nation. Remember that. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, let's go Raptors.